Hello, I'm Eagle. Eagle Gardens. Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram. And this is fucking talking shit with Eagle. This is episode 151. I hope you guys had an amazing Thursday. Have a special guest for you guys tonight that enjoy all your organics. Uh, this guy here was referred to me by another person that I asked on the show, and they were like, if you want some good information, then you want to talk to this guy. So I hit this gentleman up, and he was nice enough to come talk to us and drop some knowledge on us. The world's last hope on Instagram. How you doing tonight? You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and if there's other places we can find you other than Instagram?
Well, hey, thanks for having me out, man. Again, just pretty well Instagram. It's where I've been for quite a long time. Actually, it was growing way before that, but got on Instagram and realized we've got a pretty good community out here. So, started posting and then made a bunch of really good contacts. It was a good way to find a lot of good information for growers, good people, for sure. A little bit about me. Been growing for about 12 years. Started off literally smoking, and then went, I want to find the best product I possibly can that a good stoner would. Found the best one I could, and then tried to get that to teach me how to grow. He taught me how to grow synthetically, so I actually started running through a bunch of different nutrient companies. I ran through just about every nutrient company on the market. Well, as of about 8 years ago, I just didn't need nutrients after that. But I literally ran through like Advanced, Psycho, Mills, Advanced, General Organic, General Hydroponics, Go Line, Microbial Line, Ancient, Humboldt Harvest, like just the list goes on and on. But found out that guess what, you can pretty much supplement whatever you want, pretty much anything by nature. Yeah, and the meds come out a little bit more nutritionally. They actually have a nutritional content. But I started growing about 12 years ago. Did synthetics, did full deep water culture, did hydro, did coconut, perlite, soil medium, super soil, bottle fed, all that, milk soil. So I've kind of dabbled in every medium and every kind of style, but then just again realized that you can just kind of build it all yourself. From there, I started just straight up doing organics. Found out I had a really bad problem with somebody spraying spraying Avid, and they were spraying it a few weeks out, and it wasn't. Yeah, guess what? Certain people, it really triggers their system really bad, and that messed me up permanent. I have a heart problem permanent, thanks to a grower that just didn't give a crap, pretty much. Was more interested in the money than the actual problem. And started going to the heart doctor. The heart doctor told me that my heart was swollen, infected, had fluid in it, was beating irregularly, and my blood pressure was through the roof. Started growing my own organic cannabis and found out that it helped with blood pressure, heart arrhythmia, stomach problems, like pretty much all the symptoms I was having. But I found out that since I was exposed to a certain high dose of pesticides, my body was no longer able to really absorb synthetic nutrients anymore. It didn't like EDTA and any nutrients. I would just start getting sick. And then if I ran into a pesticide, I would actually be in bed for a couple of weeks. It's like not really a joke. So I started growing just strictly my own stuff. That's it. Not touching anybody else's product, not running anybody else's product. And then just started picking up the organic stuff. Started doing the organic bottle fed, and then started making my own stuff. So I was like, oh, this bottle's alfalfa, kelp, and earthworm castings. Like, how hard is that? I was like, man, a lot of these kind of smell kind of vinegary. So like, start finding out their fermentation. Actually, I was in the hydro store one day and heard one of the shopkeep guys go, man, I just hit 2.5 pounds of light. Like, yeah, that's a pretty good weight. He's like, organically in soil. I'm like, whoa, what's up, dude? Started talking to him a little bit. He's like, dude, I'm doing probiotics. Like, I started doing this thing. I really started inducing lacto into my feeds, and it's just started making a really big difference. And I was like, dude, where'd you find this information? And he's like, oh, look up Gil Durandang. Cool, looked him up. Dude, he had fish recipe, microbial recipe, a cow fox, cow mag, and did like veg feed, flower food. I was like, dude, this is cool. Turns out he was taught by Dr. Cho. Dr. Cho is one of the main pushers of green natural farming. When I first started doing the organics and literally not going to the store and buying bottles anymore, was like, well, I'm going to start just, I made one. Let's go ahead and make the next one. And slowly you're just starting to supplement everything in your regimen. You're like, I don't need calcium anymore. Like, you can actually divide all of your nutrients into different mineral and nutrient content. So you can be like, okay, this is a rooting hormone. This is a root booster. This is a microbial solution. This is vegetative. This is a natural PGR. This is a just straight up for bad nematodes. This is straight up just tricantanol. This is straight up just potassium. This is straight up just phosphorus. This is calcium phosphorus. This is calcium. This is CalMag. This is fish amino acid. This is straight up just amino acids. This is straight humic acid. You can make anything you want for pretty much nothing. Like my indoor, I run 4 different rooms. All said and done, it's only about 4,800 watts. But again, I'm running a LED panel on a 4x4, 4 315 CMHs, 2 Gavitas, and 7 other like 130 watt LEDs. But I run that like 4 times a year. It only costs me like less than $140 a year for all of my nutrients.
That's pretty economic there. That's pretty economic there to get things running like that. You've said a mouthful there in that, all in that introduction there. And I can't believe that, what'd you do? I mean, I'm skipping around now, but what'd you do when you got sick from the cannabis there? I mean,
what did I do? Well, the thing that really sucks about having Silver Eagle 20, the main ingredient in it is microbial. That is the major one that most people fail for because they're spraying a heavy pesticide like microbial. The shitty thing about it is it's rosemary extract. That's the main ingredient, rosemary. But it's also a systemic nerve damaging fucking element that will it pretty much sits dormant in your system and then brings out your flaws. So if you have heart problems or cancer or any of that shit, brings it out way fucking fast. And all of a sudden, dude, but it's like cigarettes, unfortunately. It's like, oh, I smoke 2 packs a day and I don't have cancer. Well, there's one guy next to you that's never smoked in his life and he's got secondhand smoke with you and now he's got lung cancer. Yeah, I literally was trimming one day for a buddy and I knew they had caterpillar bad as shit. Because, they had full-on stalks that were eaten. And I knew they had mites. Because you walk out in their fucking garden and you see baskets of just leads. And I'm like, holy shit. I go back out there 2 weeks later and they're completely gone. And I'm like, they're harvesting. And I'm going out there and I start looking around the buds a little bit. And I'm like, what you guys use for the caterpillars? And they told me, I was like, oh, that's not too bad. And I was like, well, what you guys do for the mites? They're like, I don't know. That boss did something. He wouldn't tell anybody. I'm like, does Abbott sound familiar? He's like, actually it does. I'm like, don't touch any of this shit. You touch it, you're going to absorb it into your hands. But yeah, I smoked a quarter pound of it in 2.5 weeks and a bunch of oil of it. He didn't tell anybody. And yeah, I got sick as fuck. And then I got heat stroke. And then all of a sudden I went to my normal doctor. He was like, did you know your heart's fucked up? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, there's something wrong with your heart. You need to go to the heart doctor. So I went to the heart doctor and he's like, oh yeah, your heart's all fucked up. Dude, I was a 4-sport athlete in high school. I did basketball, soccer, golf, and track, and then raced my dirt bike all summer long. I had no hope.
That's crazy.
Now my immune system is shitty. All because somebody took the shortcut and already had all the weed sold.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Another reason why I try to create the style that I do is because, dude, it's as clean as I can possibly get it. You know exactly what's in it because you're touching and making everything yourself. What you're putting in it, you're like, oh, I know exactly what's in that. That's got banana, watermelon, kiwi, dude, because you know exactly because you made it. You went and got it yourself. And you can be as strict as you want to be. You're like, oh, I want to go organic or I want to go just whatever I can afford. Dude, the best part about the style that when I first started doing Korean natural farming, all there was the manual. That was broken English that was just literally made for rice fields. And then Korean natural farming picked up and they were like, this is for agricultural foliar feeding for fruit and vegetables. Well, I only had the manual back 8, almost 9 years now. So I was literally just sitting at home going, okay, well, let's see if this will work for cannabis. And this is meant for spraying, but I'm going to see if you can top feed it. And started top feeding it and being like, damn, these work just like most nutrients. And actually plants are responding to them like synthetics do. I can get tip burn if I want. I know exactly what element will do that. That's the nicest part. So you can break them all down individually. Or you can make it all around feed. But everything turns into a nutrient. Everything.
That's badass. That's badass. Sounds like you've got a book much like I had Mary Jane's Med Gardens on the phone. And I believe you're going to fall right next to her in a grower that's kind of fascinated the community a little bit. And I think she probably runs much like you're saying. I mean, in her scenario there, she was whatever her plant needed. Say if it needed like a nitrogen source, she had in her book, and it must have took her forever to actually come up with the book. A nitrogen source, you know what I mean? What she could scavenge around her property, where she could gather up and make teas out of this for this symptom and that symptom, and I was like just fascinated about that. I was like, man, that sounds just like the perfect method to live and farm right there. I mean, I wish we could all, we all should be trying to live like that, but man.
So the one thing that's really, really cool about, so a little bit more background, sorry, I just like a whole big old background, but I feel the difference between Korean natural farming and modern natural farming is the Korean natural farming is actually a class that's taught by several people that's, again, made for agricultural farming of foliar feeding. Modern natural farming is literally just me sitting in my basement going, this work, this doesn't, this work, this doesn't, but it's for cannabis. I actually have like a 14-page packet that has ratios of everything you need from clone to veg to early flower, late flower, and finishing, and like everything in between, and how to make every single input, and where they all come from, everything, how the plant like.
Daddy, I got a green muffin. I got a green muffin.
Hey everybody in chat, Cameron, Robert Hazelton, Chris Mertz, Madam T. Oh, real quick while I've got the floor, if you guys have any questions, please tag me with your questions. There you go.
Oh, sorry,
no worries, brother.
Daughter's got a pistachio muffin.
No worries.
But, sorry about that. So, again, this was just me sitting in my basement, figuring out what worked for plants and what doesn't work for plants. But if you've heard of water-soluble cal mag, fermented bubble hash water, like there's several other ones, but again, like you can make anywhere from like 7 to 40 different inputs, and essentially you're just building your plant's immune system, but they're all fermentations, so you're actually taking like any plant material you want, or fruit or vegetables, adding sugar to them that stimulates the bacteria on the actual fruit. Those bacteria starts decomposing it and actually composting it on a microbial level. So what's left is the liquid is actually got all your nutrients in it. What's left of the fruit or vegetables, whatever you're fermenting, essentially carbon. So it's just going to break down pretty well immediately if you bury it. But it's microbially processed, but it's also super concentrated. So your levels that you feed are going to be super, super small, but the plants are going to see them. That's the nice thing about them. So literally, you're going to be feeding like anywhere between 1 and 5 milliliters per gallon for everything. But when you start adding 1 mil of water-soluble potassium, water-soluble cal mag, water-soluble calcium, BIM, fermented fruit extract, fermented plant extract, like they start adding up. So you're starting to like add more milliliters altogether into your registered quantities. But since you're using sugars to help break down and ferment and do everything else, when you're feeding that to your plants, your Brix levels of your plants actually raise, and you get the sugar content just gets higher in your plants, which is in direct consolation with nutritional content. So it actually, your plants have more nutrition, the sweeter they get, the more aromas they put off. What was the other thing that I was going to lead up to that way? Oh, so whenever you're like say if you do, I do consultation, so I actually go to somebody's farm. We walk through your entire farm. I try to take some notes, and I try to help you up your numbers a little bit and down your productivity, up your productivity, down your numbers, and up your weight. But try to help you cut costs or make a couple of shortcuts if you can. And then we actually go to the store buy everything that we need to do the entire class. We sit down and make like 7 to 14 different nutrients together. We all touch them, make them, figure out how they all are, how they're all used, how the plant uptakes, and what they turn into. And then I give you the packet so you can follow along. Just something to follow along to, because I'm trying to touch all your senses. I'm trying to help you follow along with something. You actually do something. I'm going to talk to you while we're going to do it. And then, so when you make all these nutrients and you actually feed those to your cannabis plants, again, your sugar levels are very high. So if you can actually feed this to your vegetable garden or start a vegetable garden and figure out what vegetables and fruit that you need for your cannabis plants, you start feeding them your ferments. That raises their Brix levels. Then you ferment those and give those back to your cannabis plants and their fruit ceiling.
You said one thing that sparked my ears right up is bubble hash water.
Yep.
Now, I'm not a KNF farmer. That's not even my language, to be honest with you. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to understand. But I have been feeding my plants bubble hash water from the get. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but all I know is my plants are happy as shit after that feeding.
I actually have it's not exact proven science, but I have a definite good theory behind why they like it. And actually, to make your own fermented bubble hash water, it's easy. You literally run your bubble hash, and before it cannot sit for a few days. It's going to start smelling sour. Before it does that, add like 2 cups of sugar into a 5-gallon bucket of it. Let it sit. It'll start making its own SCOBY on top, which will be a white layer of mycelium with blue bubbles popping up through it, but the bubbles will be suspended. It's super cool. But let that sit for a week. Now you have fermented bubble hash water. You feed your plants that 1 to 5 milliliters per gallon. You just concentrated all that bubble hash water that has got terpenes in it for pest management. It's got natural late flowering hormones from the plant, so you're actually helping plants that you're feeding, helping them ripen. It's got silica from the stalks. It's got green, plants absolutely love being fed themselves. Even if you can just go into your veg into your veg state or your mother room, or even when you're flowering, in the early stages when you're going and de-leafing, take a big old hand of leaves, twist them up, put them in a little bowl, add a handful of sugar to them, mix that up really well so the sugar covers everything. So what you're trying to do is, when you're ripping the leaves, it's actually sending stress hormones into the plant, and it's actually trying to create moisture on the tips to help it repair itself. If you can take sugar and hit all the surfaces with it, you're getting all the bacteria living on the leaf surface, and you're getting all the excrement coming out of the leaf tips, which are hormones telling it, hey, something's fucked up, we need to try to repair ourselves. You're capturing all that in the sugar. And then if you tumble that, the entire thing is going to get like a slime ball. Just keep doing that and keep mixing it. Add a little bit more sugar. Try to keep about 50-50 weight if you can. And then just put it all in a big jar. Let that sit and then just squeeze out all the sugar. Dude, you're getting... So how do you turn a synthetic alfalfa field into an organic alfalfa field? You take it, you till it into itself for 1 year. That's all you have to do. Literally, you don't feed it. You let it grow whatever it wants to, and then you till it into itself. The ground becomes vital, and it goes, hey, there's already been a plant of our species living here, so why don't we go ahead and help it? And nothing more plants love than being fed themselves. Like, if you even think about trees and nature, dude, so where are roots drawing their nutrients from? As far down in the soil as they are tall. So where is all that coming from? It's literally their leaves falling down and decomposing, slow decompression. Layer after layer after layer after layer after layer. So what is that doing? It's essentially building soil, but it's just building itself, and it's sucking all the nutrients from 1,000, 10,000 years ago, turning them into leaves, falling down. We compost those, we get all those minerals, and we put those into our bins and soils. That's why leaf compost is killer.
Right on. Chris Mertz in chat was asking, what Brix meter do you use?
You can get all kinds of ones. You can even get one at Home Depot.
Yeah.
A lot of feed companies will sell them too. They like to measure their Brix levels in their honey.
So, usually we start this off. I mean, we've already jumped way into deep into this the K and F stuff, but When did you start growing? I mean, you mentioned like 12 years ago, but what led you, to the growing aspect of it all?
Well, again, I was doing sports in high school, and I used to get bronchitis every single year until from when I was like 8 years old until I was like 17. I would get bronchitis every single fucking year. Started smoking, and then never got it again. Don't know why, but then was like, hey, this actually benefits my health, and actually helps me with throwing up and anything else if possible. So I was like, dude, okay, well, why not? And then was like, dude, obviously you want to get good weed. And then started getting a unreliable source. It's like, dude, I'll start fucking growing it. So started growing it and was like, dude, the product's definitely better. I enjoyed a lot more. But then from there, it just went. But I was doing, when I first started, I was doing, like, again, I started as hard as you can. I went like full deep water culture, and then I was just full hydro. As soon as I started doing just straight up soil and getting into like just soil, I had multiple rooms going. I normally had like anywhere between 86 and 120 moms going. I had two flower rooms going, an outdoor of like 35 plants, and then a depth of 99 plants. So, and I was working 8 hours a day all by myself. I did that for like 8 months, like all 3 of those, or consistently. Yeah, you'd wake up, check on the indoor, check on the moms, uncover tarp, check on the water the outdoor, go to work, come home, double check on the outdoor, pull tarp, go in and work on the moms, and then go in and clone.
That's a full day of farming there, brother. That's a full day of farming there.
Yeah, that was like 22-hour days for a long time. But when you got bills to pay and you got family coming, you do what you gotta do, man.
Very true. Very true.
That was also when I really started getting into greenhouse farming, because I couldn't afford to buy anything. I had soil and I had plants, and I didn't have any flour and I didn't have any fucking money. So I was like, well, I'm either gonna fucking make this work or I'm not.
Right on. So, take me through veg, I guess. What is some of the stuff that KNF remedies we can use in veg? How can we utilize this process in our veg?
So the absolute best things you can do, Google is your best friend, let's put it that way. So if you go to any plant, if you can identify it, just literally ask Google, what is the mineral content of, and it'll tell you iron, magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, cobalt, iron, magnesium, zinc, manganese, anything. Like even if you go, what's the mineral content of gypsum? It'll tell you immediately what it is. Then you really want to understand what plants need at certain times. That's the best tool for you. But again, like if you even just look at my packet, it's got full feed schedules, and if you figure out like, okay, you're mainly feeding nitrogen in veg, and you're obviously feeding more phosphorus, potassium, and flour. But you're slowly weaning off of it, slowly leaning into it. Because again, it's Ligman's law of equality. You have a barrel that's got slats in it, that's a wooden barrel that's got slats in it. Well, if all the slats aren't the same size, you can't fill the barrel up. You can't fill the whole barrel up. You can only fill it up to the lowest slat. That's how your nutrients work too. If your plant can only perform to its lowest nutrient. So if other ones are spiked, but one of them's low, it can only perform to the lowest nutrient. But again, like you can use pretty well anything. So basic law, like you can use fish, but the fish product is really cool because if you go out and buy any fish product, it smells like fish, and it's very slimy and everything else. So if you make fish amino acid, again, it's the exact same thing. You take whatever fish you want, add sugar to it. Easy peasy. Let that sit. Bacteria. Think about the bacteria that lives on the fish. Dude, it's microbes that are living on the skin of the fish that are going through the water hella fast. So they're just hanging on, and they get used to that. So they're hella hard dock. So they're strong as shit. So they eat the sugar immediately and just start eating that fish immediately. Like literally, I've had a full-on fish that were like good, 18, 24 inches that have been completely eaten in 21 days, besides like a handful of scales. And it's all microbially processed, so it actually smells more like compost versus fish. There's a lot of them that either press and blend or strain or heat up and press. This is all microbes just eating and composting. But you want to figure out what the fish ate. So again, you go to Google and go, what's the mineral content of catfish or salmon or tilapia, and then he goes, oh, this one's high in phosphorus. Oh, this one's high in nitrogen. It's all about what the fish are eating. So more than likely, catfish is going to be veg food, and then tilapia and salmon are fish flour food. It's a red and white skinned fish, and the other ones are not. But again, even your lawn, out front of your house, your lawn, it's like a freaking 20 like a 20-0-0. Like it's actually super high in nitrogen, enzymes, like amino acids. Like bamboo's super high in silica. Horsetail super high in silica. Bamboo's high in nitrogen, but silica's high in phosphorus. So you want to use bamboo for veg and horsetail for flower. But even just using fruit, like if you use apple, banana, watermelon, kiwi, and say purple cauliflower. Purple cauliflower has got niacin in it, or not niacin, it's got, what's the other one? Not niacin, but it's another one that's like somewhat poisonous, but it's super good for you. But anyways, if you just literally take equal weights of those and add equal weights of sugar, put it in a bucket, mix them all together, it's just making artificial honey. All you're doing. Like it's immediately, like within an hour, it's going to turn straight into liquid. Super easy. That liquid, you're literally going to feed your plants 1 to 5 milliliters. And if you use flowers that are unripe, like say if you walk into, you get some watermelons, some apples that are sour or not quite ripe yet, those are better for early flower because you're trying to take earlier bulbing flowers have higher phosphoric acid, so that helps your plants absorb more phosphorus. Later flowering plants, ones that are about to expire, have late flowering hormones, so they help your plant progress to try to help them expire, just like they would. But they also have a higher sugar content. But just straight up apple, banana, and like watermelon, those three together, it's like a 0-50-30. Like it's a super high NPK, super high PK. So I mean, like you start feeding that straight up like week 1 in flower, you start feeding your early transition one, and then you switch to your late flower one, like week 5. Dude, you're feeding PK the whole time. They come in solid as a rock, and just loud. And you start doing Oriental herbal nutrient, which is literally plant medicine. Like you're taking cinnamon, ginger, and garlic, minimum, like those 3 minimum, but you can use any medicinal herb. You can use any kind of herb that's any kind of deterrent. Most things that are deterrents are also double as like good medicinal values for eating. Lemongrass, peppers, jalapenos, dillweed, cilantro, rosemary, basil, any of that shit, but you can make a giant extraction of one of them all together at equal parts, and essentially you're making plant food to help boost its immune system the entire time. And it also helps, since the garlic has got sulfur in it, it's also got super high, it just helps boost aromas and helps boost essential oils. And since you have cinnamon in it, it's also got anti-inflammatory properties, all kinds of shit. Same thing with ginger. All those things are great for you when you're sick. If you start feeding those to your plant regularly, they're not ever going to get sick, And mites also take cinnamon and all that other shit.
I've never even thought about it like that, incorporating ginger or cinnamon in with my plant. And that's, I never translated it over like that.
Coolest thing is you start feeding OHN, which that's the one with garlic, cinnamon, ginger, and then fermented fruit extract, which is just your fruits. You feed those together in flowering, and then when finish time comes, like your last 2 weeks or last week, you go, okay, I want to decide if I want fruity plants or if I want cushy plants. Because if you want to bring out more of an OG flavor or bring out the essential oils of just like kush, OHN's your best friend. You start hammering that and you lay off the fermented fruit extract. You want to bring out more of a berry hint to certain things, dude, you keep your OHN the same amount, but you start hitting the fermented fruit extract. And you can feed those up until the day you cut, and they will still burn clean 100%. You won't notice a difference, 100%. I'm very, very picky about this. I can taste whatever element's left, and I'm like, that's guano. That's sulfate of potash. Oh, that's fish bone meal. Oh, that's more back guano. Like, you can taste the elements in the smoke, and I'm very picky about that. You can feed that until the day you cut your. And then water-soluble Cal Mag, that's easy peasy. You go get a gallon of vinegar, not white. You can get apple cider vinegar or brown rice vinegar. Cash and Carry carries gallons of it for like $8 a gallon. Oyster shell powder is 93% calcium carbonate, which is instantly available calcium. If you mix 1 gallon of 1 gallon of vinegar with 500, no, it's 1,000 mils of the oyster shell powder, it's going to foam like a volcano. The oyster shell powder is super high pH and the vinegar is super low pH. Mix them together, it's just like putting baking soda and vinegar. So it's going to foam like a moe. The second it's done, it's extracted about 95% of the calcium out of the actual oyster shell and made it water soluble. So now you have water soluble calcium. You add 250 milliliters of Epsom salts. It's 12% manganese, 13% sulfur. Dude, you have CalMag. Like, boom, there you go. You made it for $8 a gallon. And then if you straight up just use the water-soluble calcium by itself, or if you use fish bone meal, then you have CalPhos, which you can feed for transition all the way into about week 6 flour. If you use just straight brown rice vinegar by itself, it's a natural organic pH stabilizer, so it's actually super low pH, but it'll drop your plant's pH, higher it, and then stabilize it. It's also it's brown rice has also got the most organic amino acids more than any other plant. So, I mean, like, just feeding straight up vinegar to your plant helps a lot. But also, if your soil is too alkaline, if it has too much calcium in it, that'll actually help try to balance it out, and it'll fizz out the calcium from it, extract it, put it in water soluble form that you can flush out.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I've never heard of the brown rice vinegar myself, but I've always heard of using vinegar as a pH down, but then I've also heard people say that it didn't last long. The pH would swing in a little bit of time. It was only like a temporary buffer, if you will.
That's the nicest thing about it, is if your soil's sitting at like pH 7, when you start adding all your K and F inputs to it, it starts lowering. So if you're like, okay, I'm sitting at 7.5 of my soil. Okay, you want to feed like 5.9, so it'll try to balance out at like 6.5, 6.7. But if you're already sitting at 7, you could feed 6, 6.3, and it'll still bounce to 6.5. If your soil's right at 6.5, you could feed balance, it's just going to swing. And actually, the cool thing about vinegar is if you foliar feed it, your plants are going to go immediately yellow, but then the next day they're going to be dark green. That actually helps process calcium. Calcium transfers itself in the night.
Nice. We do have a few questions for you here in chat, if you're willing.
Sorry, I ramble.
No worries here, man. You're killing it, man. You're dumping tons of knowledge out there already. Grosse in chat says, I have IMO. How can I incorporate it into my feeding program? It's been sitting in brown sugar for 2 months. What do I do?
Just make sure it's not dry and just strain out the sugar. If it's in a mason jar that's decent size, what I actually like to do is you take a beer bottle, take the label off it, clean it really well, and just use it like a French press. Push it down in it, and all the juice will come up inside of it, and just pour that out. But again, you're only going to need like 1 to 5 milliliters of that per gallon. So if you're doing babies, dude, like 1 mil of itself, dude, they're going to eat that. Like, that's 5 days of feeding. Like, that's how you got to think of it. The smallest amount really makes a difference. It really does. But again, like, you're also feeding just a shitload of carbohydrate carbs. Like, they love sugar. Your plants will love sugar. Cool. Another really awesome thing about the KNF inputs is when you start foliar feeding them, there's so much sugar in them, and when you start fermenting, it goes from tincture, which is just sugar and whatever material you want, turns into a sugar syrup, which is artificial honey. Then it will ferment and turn into alcohol, which, again, it's like Pruno. Like, it will get you drunk, straight up will. And then it will turn into vinegar. They're all three usable. You will realize how much of alcoholics little thugs are, because you spray that on the plants, and they're sitting there like licking their fingers and hands and partying on the. No, they really like it though. The ladybugs, praying mantises, all the beneficial life really block it. Even in my indoor garden, I will start getting like 3 and 4 different kinds of predator mites and all kinds of lacewings and roly-polies. All that kind of shit will just show up. I don't bring them in; they just show up. Like, they're really attracting to them. They really like it. I even had some soldier flies that were in here that were just chilling in my dirt, but they're just composters. Like, they're not bringing in ants, they're not bringing in aphids. They're actually just eating springtails, which springtails are dope. They're just eating mycelium in your soil.
Dr. Buzz Lightyear Acetone wants to know, how do you get your microbes?
how do I get my microbes? IMO collections. So you actually you cook rice. You want to build just like a small box, small wooden box. Like it can be that big, it can be that big, it can be whatever size you want. I normally make them kind of small. Drill holes in the bottom of it. Try to get some kind of a lid for it. Cook rice, whatever rice you make, or leave it. Like just let it cool off instead of throwing it away. Throw it in that box. If you're doing a purposeful rice collection or rice cook it a little hard. So actually add a little tiny bit less water to it. Stick that fluff in that box about 3 inches. Put your lid on it, and then go find a good spot outside anywhere. Like I like to do like 5 or 6 of these boxes at the same time. Go find as many different active spots as you can. You want to like anywhere you can find mycelium in a wooded area, in a grassy area, in the sun, in the shade, in a dead spot, in a super grassy spot. But you really want to like put them in the ground and cover them pretty damn well. And you want to make sure that like animals aren't going to get to them. So you want to try to put like some rocks on them or like put cage over them, because they're going to smell it like it's fresh rice for like 2 or 3 days. So they're going to try to get to it, especially raccoons and shit. If you've got dogs or cats, they try to get to it too. But just like really just weigh that fucker down. Once you let it sit for 3 to 5 days, day 3 you want to start checking it. You'll start seeing white mold run through it. That's a good thing. That's mycelium. That's actually a fungal growth state in mushroom growth. But that's actually that's showing you that the spot around you has got activity. It's actually trying to draw it into the starch of the rice. So whenever you place your multiple samples out, you want to check them about day 3, but you want to try to like really keep an eye on them. If you're like, oh, there's not really any mold growing yet, let them sit for another day or 2. Once you really start seeing mold, start checking them day and night. Like as soon as it like peaks, you want to get it as strong as it possibly can get. If it's gonna start like dying off, it's still gonna be good, but you want to try to get them as strong as it possibly can. So once you actually get a good colonization, it's just gonna be a white chunk, like a white, straight up like a white cold chunk that you can barely pull apart. It's gonna feel like almost like cotton, like pulling apart. But that is considered IMO, which is Indigenous Microorganisms. Indigenous means acclimatized to your local environment. So they're actually used to your rainfall, your heat, your winds, your everything pretty much. But if you go somewhere, like if you're like, oh, I'm going to the redwood forest today, dude, go grab a handful of dirt. You know how many microbes are in one grain of dirt? Like trillions. So just grab a handful of dirt, go back home, colonize, just put the soil in the box with it or next to it. It'll pull the microbes into the rice. It's going to start getting different colors. You're going to get white, you're going to get pink mold, purple, brown, green, yellow, blue. Pretty much the only one that's bad is black, but again, you can scrape most of the black off. But again, black is just going to end up a food source, so it's not really necessarily a bad thing. But the whiter the colonization, the cleaner it is, the stronger they're going to be. But since you're taking colonizations from like 5 or 6 different locations, you're gonna take them all and pull out any parts that seem kind of questionable and mix them equal parts of sugar, and that's actually how you're going to store them. That makes it now IMO2. But you have the pink, all the different color bacterias. The green ones, the nitrogen-fixing bacteria. The purple ones, I believe, is also nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Pink and red are phosphorus-fixing bacteria. And actually, pond water, where you have fish, is also phosphorus-fixing bacteria. But yeah, all those are just straight up like super microbes that they're drawn in from those giant zones that you're sitting in. And once you actually mix them all together and hit them with sugar, that's IMO2. So now you take that and add it to a 5-gallon bucket of water, but you just need a scoop. Because again, how many microbes are in 1 grain of dirt? A lot. So what you're doing is you're taking a naked planet, pretty much, taking 2 people and dropping them on it and letting them all like just blow up that planet. But again, you're putting 1 scoop on there. Let that sit for a week. It's going to make a film on top of it. You now have a film. Now you can take any of your IMO colonizations and just add it straight to that. But that makes all your microbes water soluble. That is also a root booster, not a rooting hormone. It will not help roots grow. It will help roots expand. So if your cuts are sitting there like ready to root, it'll make them blow up. But again, it's going to be a sink or swim. Just like most of the rooting hormones out there that you use to help blow up. Like if you use them with babies too early, they're just not going to work. But again, that's one that you can consistently feed all the time, and that's just adding microbes to your plant, nitrogen, phosphorus fixing bacteria, and it's also just adding a shitload of life. but it's also drawing in lactobacillus, like a bunch of different lacto species too. So you have lacto in there. I like lacto, but I'd rather have Vim versus lacto. Lacto. So whenever you're buying bacteria, like say if you buy Armory Forge or you buy Actinovate or any of those, they're bacillus blends. There's mainly 5 major species of bacilli. Lactobacillus is the strongest. That is the one that they never list. They always list the other 4 together, but they never list lacto itself. You can make lacto very, very easy, but it will dominate all the other lacto species. So if you start feeding lacto all the time, it will help microcompost everything in your soil very quickly. Your plants will eat faster, but you will run out of food in your soil faster. You need to remember that. Also, whenever you use it, small amounts are very, very important. If you start using a lot of lacto, you're going to ferment your root ball and your pH is going to drop to 3 and your plant's going to die. But again, Vim is all of your microbes that you just harvested all rolled into one, and they're all the hardest ones out of their environments. All the other ones turn into food or they turn into allies. And so essentially you're taking the best player from every team. And then lacto is actually, whenever you open ferment anything and you let it breathe, it will naturally draw in lactobacillus. Lacto is present in everything. It's present on every single leaf surface. It's present in our air. We breathe it. It's present in all of our pores in our body, on our skin, inside of us. Lacto is everywhere.
Nice. I know this is probably backtracking a little bit, but Dr. Buzz Lightyear Acetone says, I done the rice trick and then I just add molasses to the water to reproduce more.
Try not to use molasses because it's got sulfur in it, but when you do the rice and you already added 50-50 to rice, you don't need to add any more sugar to it. You can if you want. That's the cool thing about it. Use your gut. If you think it needs more sugar, you can add more sugar. The only way your ferments are bad, so if you're doing ferments at home, most times people notice that they start getting mold on the top of their stuff. That's not a bad thing. Again, you're getting good bacteria, so you can mix that in, but it's sucking the moisture out of your ferments. If you're doing any kind of IMO or anything like that, you really want to just your ferments only go bad if they smell like sewage or sulfur. Other than that, they're good.
Chibo Man wants to know, what are the questionable parts to disregard from the mix?
If you see any really, really dark black, like if it's all black, like black's kind of like the bad color of mold, it's trying to take over the mycelium. I try not to let very much black mold in my colonization if you can. But again, use what you can. If you get a colonization that's mainly black, but if there's some kind of pinks or whites in it, pick them out. Put them in a jar, add a little bit of sugar to it. Again, how many microbes are in just 1 grain of dirt? A little tiny bit really fucking matters. It really does. So you can take, again, once you make it into Vim, they just breed. So once you run out, you can make 5 gallons of Vim with 1 teaspoon of IMO2. That's just a little tiny, that's like 10 grains of rice. You can make 5 gallons with. And you know how you make more? Fill up the bucket. Leave some in the bucket, fill it up. It's that easy. You're just giving them more space to breed. You're taking that concentrated population and just giving them more room.
Damn. Nice. Man, I love some Temple Ball hash. That sounded like a pretty winning combination you had there. Everybody's I've been hearing a lot about that Tiny Burger. Is that one of the strains you've been running?
I made a bunch of. I ran a bunch. I ran like 80 of them. So yeah, I made a bunch of Tiny Burger. It's Larry. It's GMO pretty much. Well, it's GMO Hanso GMO Larry F8 GMO. So it's Forum MD, Larry F8, Forum MD.
So what are some inputs that we could use for foliar in veg?
What's that?
What are some stuff we can use for foliar in veg?
Everything that you make can be doubled as foliar. The
Yeah.
thing is, just cannabis is just feed so much that you can actually comp feed tonight. So you can, if you're on an IPM day, you can definitely just foliar feed them plus your IPM, or you can. The nice thing is you can add them to any reg. If you're already running some kind of other nutrients, you can definitely add them.
That's nice. Chad's getting pissy. They didn't get their dad song. They're watching you take a dab. They're like, "What? We don't get to take a dab with it." You guys are spoiled with that dab song. Oh shit, that's funny. Funny stuff. So, is there any other things? Any techniques that any in particular techniques that you use in veg? Low stress testing? Do you prefer multiple toppings? How do you prepare your grows for flour?
I normally, well, if you look at my IG, I'm running the totes right now. Those are easy peasy. Like those are sediment. I mean, literally water plants and they'll still produce really, really well. Like pretty much one bag of soil, one cubic foot bag, or 1 3 cubic foot bag of soil. But I run 2 plants per tote, and they normally yield anywhere between like 6 to 12 ounces each. And I normally run like room next to us has got 6 in there, so that's like that'll hopefully give me at least like a pound and a half, 2.5. You see of H's will give me probably like a pound and a quarter each, because again they're just, it's still like another like 4.5 pounds, 1.5 pounds, 5 pounds, and then the Gavita room normally gives me like 2.5 light, or 2 to 2.5 light. I mean, like just, and only on 600 watts there, 1200 here, and only 400 next door. I mean, I'm not running shit for light. It's still producing really fucking good weight.
They're trying to get me. Smiley's Gardens is like, say, the organic half of the show there. He keeps trying to get me to go organic. I know it's the right thing to do. I'm just dragging my feet for one reason or another.
It's so cost effective, and that's, put it this way: if it's all about the market, is that why you do it, or you just don't like? You like bottle feeding? Do you like what don't you like? It's like right now I'm straight up running like full coconut peanut.
Yeah, right now I'm running a full coconut, a chunky cocoa, and I'm running synthetic newts. I mean, probably your worst nightmare. Pardon me, generic fertilizers. It's a new company here in Michigan that
Oh, they're just straight salts, yeah. They're just bag salts.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is those are easy. Plants respond to them, but they don't. The meds just don't last. Like they don't seem to like have any feet to them. Like if I smoke, I want to smoke and be stoned for like, an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. I don't want to last 45 minutes and then my head hurt. It's like I ran all kinds of synthetics. I learned how to make organics yield just as good as synthetics. And actually, when it comes to organics, you put in so much less work. Like when it comes to the real picture, and you actually really get to know what's in your stuff. That's the thing I really like about it.
For me, the biggest drag in the switch is more or less space, because I am a caregiver and I have a particular perpetual harvest that I'm used to now. It's hard to do the same system in an organics because I'm up potting all the time, and I feel like it's just not fair to a plant in an organic system. Am I wrong in thinking that
Oh yeah, you could definitely do it. You could definitely up pot all you want in organics. All it is root building. Like you can still do your same exact techniques. Like just go and download my bio. Like you'll be stoked. Because again, like you can feed. If you know how to feed synthetically, all you're doing is you're feeding your normal regimen all the time, plus Calvin. Like, and all you need to add is like literally like a quarter teaspoon of straight Epsom salts. Dude, there's your mag source right there. Like I've got, like, actually, let me see if I can find. I think I potted it. Now let me show you this real fast. This is cheese. But this has only been in here for about, this is a very, very slow growing plant, by the way. But again, like it's pretty damn beefy. It's only been fed like 3 times, but it's in like, probably about a 70% coconut blend. And like, again, you just baby them, but I mean, they're super nice and green. Let me see if I can go fast. Yeah, these guys are all cooked. Okay.
Oh yeah, that would be nice and healthy.
Pretty beefy, no red stalks or nothing.
When do you like to take your clones?
I've always got a shitload of plants all the time. I normally keep other plants though. All depends on what you're trying to do, honestly. Because again, like I've had big old fat bushes where I've taken a fucking 1,000 cuts off of, but I've also left it. Like it all depends on what you want. Because you know, certain arms you can take, but again, your strongest cuts are going to be up top. But I always try to thin them pretty fucking hard. Like have you ever heard of the Swazi tech?
No, I haven't. Go ahead and refresh me a little bit.
Well, you literally take every single leaf off of it, like except for all the little teeny tiny dudes, like all of them, going about 4 days before flower, so it actually goes, holy shit. And then when it recovers, it actually is trying to take all the momentum from all the flowers that it had to flower building sites. And then it's going to completely grow all the fucking way back thick. And then week 3 rolls around, you do the same thing. You go hard as shit. You take all the fucking fan leaves off of them. So then it's literally just building buds through that. So you look in your room with a light and all you see is buds. You don't see leaves at all. Like all you see is buds. But again, like that makes your lights throw 6 feet. That makes so like your bottom buds are solid as a rock because they can see light and they're not off color because they're not being outshadowed. But again, I've done that several rooms and it works very, very good. You just got to time it correctly. I've even done it with super slow strain Black Dominance. Like that's a pure indigo and it still yields great. Because it just takes all the momentum, then it just flashes it pretty much. You take all of the fucking leaves off of it and then you let it dry out. That's the biggest thing. And then you give it double the food right afterwards and it just goes, holy shit, okay. But you do that 4 days before going to flower, and it gets time to go, oh, wow, that hurt. And then it starts to rebuild itself, and then you flip it into flower, and it just keeps going. It just goes, okay, I've got legs. I'm going to keep going. And then it stops. And then you go, okay, you're at your stopping point. I'm going to wait for you to swell. And then they swell. You take all the leaves off them again, and then they really hit bud set, and then you just have fucking coals, like giant fucking coals. But it's one that's really made popular by the three alike guys. Their book's like $500 though.
Nice. Sounds like a good technique to utilize. I mean, I do a lot of stripping myself, but I don't put up that much thought into it, to be honest with you. It sounds like...
Yeah, you'll have to look through my profile one day. Most people shit their pants. They go, did you just kill that entire room? Because it literally just looks like you have a whole bunch of stalks in your room when you first in it. Then you give it like a week, and it's completely back. You put the plant into overdrive. But I've more than likely, but it also helps keep your humidity down and airflow up and everything else. But again, it's all about light penetration. If light can't see it, it ain't gonna bulk. But I also like to just like whenever I'm in veg, I normally will scrog them out. I'll throw a net on them and just start pulling them and filling spots. I normally don't top or pinch or anything like that. I normally just pull them sideways, and they tend to knuckle themselves fighting what they're going against. Even with just like this cheese, like you can take like the top leaf on it and straight up tape it right there, and all that middle growth will just become new tops, and it won't slow down. The thing that's really nice about not topping it is it won't slow it down. But if it's already shooting high as fuck and going fast like GMO does, you pinch it and it'll stop the top but make all the bottom shoot. Like this one's already grown pretty symmetrical, so you really want to leave that one alone. Like you could take this guy and pinch it sideways, just like a little boop, just to slow it down to make all the tops just raise another like 3 inches. but I think it's going to naturally catch up. So I'm not really thinking that way.
Yeah, that's a nice little bush there. So how many strains would you say you've ran through your career there? Sounds like you maybe a few.
Easily over 500. Easily over 500. Like I've been growing. Again, like when I used to run 100, I used to have 125 moms, like for 5-6 years. I would literally go out and go get like 25, 30 different strains, bring them all home, mother them all out, clone them all out, run them all against each other, keep the best 3. Go get more, do the same thing. And I get a full room of keepers, and I'd run all the keepers versus each other. And then I would keep the best and just keep doing that. Eventually I ran up to like 32 keepers that I was like, these are fucking phenomenal. And then I had a Doxo-G male from their first release. So it's a triangle dominant Doxo-G. There's no lemon, no orange, it's all gas. But it came out really well.
How many crosses have you come up with yourself there? How many have you made up for yourself?
Over 40.
Still running any of them?
Yeah, I'm running some of my black plagues and some of my orangutans. Orangutan is Santa Rosa Cannabis Cup winning Tangimal on Han Solo Burger. Han Solo Burger is GMO on Larry F8 and Stuntmaster. And then I've got my Black Plague, which is Black Triangle on Solo Burger, which Black Triangle is Triangle Kush on G13 hash plants by Bodie. And then I've got my Dr. Doom, which is Napalm OG on Solo Burger, which the Napalm is Fire Alien Kush on Tahoe Alien, I believe. No, it's Alien Kush on Tahoe Alien. But I chose the most indica pheno out of that pack, out of like 20. And yeah, those sugar for days. And then the Black Plagues are very triangle dominant, and the Donny Burgers are fire as shit. Donny Burgers are all testing very, very high. They're all testing 30 and above.
So what is your favorite terp or flavor profile?
My favorite strains probably Triangle Kush, Sour Dub, Chem D, GMO. Like I like the gas. I like gas and strong. Like I like a really good OG. Grass Valley OG is another. So when I first started growing cuts, I was literally rounding up as many OGs / Kush cuts I could find. One of the very first strains I got in 2012 was Triangle. Like that's actually the very first picture on my Instagram after almost 6,000 posts. The very first picture is Triangle, and ran that shit to death for like 4 years. Loved it, and then gave it to friends and had to shut my stuff down, and nobody could give me a cutback. It's hard as fuck to grow. It's very, very temperamental. It'll be in a 1 gallon pot and then all of a sudden just die for no reason. Like it's temperamental as shit. And to get it to yield is hard too. Like it's definitely a very good judge of a good grower for sure. Especially if you can get a cut to somebody and they can give it to you back. Fucking dude, that's it's a hard cut. It's definitely a very, very hard cut. But it also like it hits you in the eyes. Like it hits you. It's how Blue Dream, you inhale and exhale and go, wow, that hits you immediately. Triangle hits you on the inhale and on the exhale. Like you're like, holy shit. Like it hits you like a dab. Like that's why everybody's fucking breeding on it now. But yeah, I ran the shit out of that for a long time. But I really like that triangle for sure. I'm definitely gonna do a bunch of work with it here in a second. I'm gonna try to find a really good Afghani male and then hit it to it, and then I'm gonna get some black triangle seeds, which again is just triangle G13 hash plant, and then hit that back to triangle, and then start working that one too.
Do you breed mainly for yourself, just for your personal?
Yeah, well, I do get rid of beans because I make a lot, but I definitely I don't breed for people. I breed because I like the crosses that I'm making, and if I have more to share, there's more to share. That's exactly how I do my grows too. Like I grow all this shit for me because I need the medication. If there's extra, cool. It's it might be available, but it's grown from acres. Like I've done a bunch of rooms just straight up for hash, just because I want fucking hash. So
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. What are some of your favorite hash strains? You're leaving yourself right to these questions.
Well, GMO is greasy. Like GMO is definitely very, very greasy. My old cut of Master Kush, which might be forum cut, might not be. I don't think it is, but it's because I've grown forum right next to it. But that was another one I really it would put out like silver fucking hash, like with fully dried cured bud, but all silver hash, and he would still press. It was delicious. Three Kings was always super, super bright yellow. I really like GMO. GMO is just very, very greasy. It tags all the boxes. It really does. Like it's like a more potent MD. Definitely, it's like more potent MD. That's why the Donny burgers are so good too, though.
So, do you put most of your stuff into extracts? It sounds like that's a possibility.
Well, the funny part is I grow my wife likes the flower. I like the extract, so we need halfway. I normally keep big old tops, and then everything else goes to extracts.
What form of extracts do you prefer? Rosin or what do you like? I see the temple balls there, but
I like a good greasy temple ball. I like the full flavor of them, but again, if it don't melt, it gets pressed. So like bubble hash, dry iced tea, or rosin for sure. Sauce is dope too. Like we had back when I worked for Dragon, we actually had a Turk reservation do a bunch of our stuff, and West Coast Alchemy do a bunch of our sauce for us. That came out phenomenal. We did like, what was it? We actually did triangle SFV, tarantula, gelato sherbet, blue sherbet, Blackwater OG, cherry chem, scarlet fire, tangeti, mimosa. What am I just about there? Wi-Fi 43. Yeah, there's a bunch in there.
Dirt Road Dude would like to know what are the size of your indoor pots or beds?
They're a 27-gallon totes. They're actually the ones you dry urban. Easy. They have them on stock everywhere. I just drill some holes all over them and underneath of them, and put one bag of 707 in to start, and then just start amending up from there. Easy peasy. And I normally take the tote lid and cut holes in it for 2 plants, and then put the lid on top, put the lid back on it, let the plants hang out through it, and it just kind of makes like an extra mulch cover.
I believe it was possibly Dr. Buzz Lightyear acetone again. That asked earlier on if you could walk him through a little bit of making soil, what brands you. I mean, already the roots, but what's your shopping list when you go in there and make some soil? Is basically what he's asking.
Depends on what size you're gonna do. Because again, like I just ran a 2,500 plant farm, so soil shopping was a little different. It depends on if you're doing it small, a tent, a bunch of rooms, light depths, outdoor. It all depends on what you want to do. It all depends on what medium you prefer. Because again, the lighter your medium, the more you're going to feed it. So the more coconut you add, the more cow matter you're going to add. So it all depends on what you want and what you're used to. Again, like 707 is a very easy, like any organic one. Like you want to just make sure that they have like a pretty good, decent sized ingredient list that actually has food in it. You don't want to be like perlite, peat moss, vermiculite, or coconut, sphagnum peat moss, and that's it. That's not food. That's just weed. Like you want like feather milk, fat guano, azomite, zeolite, seabird guano, kelp, fish bone meal, fish meal, crab meal, lobster meal. You know, you want like a good diversity of amendments whenever you're buying soil. But again, you can buy really good super soil. You can make really good super soil. Like you buy one bag of 707, dude, you can get through one run without doing shit to it. Like literally, if you just water it. Like if you're a new grower, I really recommend, especially if you're going to organics. If you're already experienced grower, like you don't need to sit there and watch the plant. You know what the plant does. If you haven't grown it yet, good. Just go get a bag, put the plant in it, and water it. But what you need to do is you need to water it and you need to watch your moisture level. You want to try to keep. So whenever I transplant, I try to put a plant in it, water the soil really good, and I let that pot dry out its first time. Like you want to let the plant droop because they're actually trying to look for water. If you're going through the desert and you see a dude in a swimming pool sipping a drink with barbed wire around him, are you going to do anything you can to get to that water? Yeah. If you're the dude sitting in the water sipping the drink, are you thirsty? No. If they're sitting in water, their roots aren't going to expand. They need to freak out and look for it the first time, just the first time. Then you want to get your medium to a nice, like almost dry but actually moist medium, and then you keep your top layer moist. Mulch is a very good tool. It makes it so the top layer doesn't dry out, but it keeps the moisture level of your pot throughout the entire pot the same. So instead of you like doing a small pot and watering it, and the top of it not holding water, and the bottom of it holding water, no, whole entire pot. The second you add mulch, the whole pot is going to have the same moisture content to it. That's the dopest part about organic. And it's going to actually hold water longer. So if you're actually like, oh fuck, I'm having the water like every 2 days, and they're getting bigger, so it's going to go to 1 day. You put mulch on that, it's going to go to 3 days, just because it's going to hold the water in it quicker, and it's not going to actually evaporate from the top. And 93% of your bacteria lies on your rhizosphere, which is in the top 3 inches of your soil. You want to keep those alive, or they're going to freak out or die. So you actually want to keep those moist the whole time if you can. That's another reason why I like to use the lids as a cover. So you just cut a little hole for your I normally veg them in like a 1 gallon pot, maybe a 2 gallon pot, just enough so I can fit them through that little hole. Easy peasy. And then you drill holes in the top of the lid, in the creases, like just inside of the trough. Pour a bucket in the middle of them, and it fills up that tray and waters them through just like banana caps. Like it just slowly emits through the entire pot slow.
Majestic Grower wanted to know, have you looked into moving over to LEDs yet?
LEDs? I'm running LEDs. I'm running EST Tech LEDs. They're the same ones that Bodie runs. They're about $1,000 for a 4x4. And then I'm actually probably going to be getting another set here in a little bit. I don't even remember the brand, but I'm going to probably get 1 or 2 of those. Those are like another like $800 for the lights. Actually, it's $800 for one. But whenever I get my actual property, I'll probably invest in another like eight more of those EST Tech LEDs. Those things are dope. They're in. Actually, let me go show you guys fast. I feel like these are actually programmable from my phone. So I actually have to plug my router. The little box goes to my router. But
Nice.
But I can actually turn these up and down from like 10% all the way to 100%. But it's an 800 watt fixture. But right now, these plants, 250 watts. That's it for this whole 4x4. And they recommend you don't even go to 50%. And they yield great. They yield just as good as HBO. We'll probably be investing in at least eight or 9 more sets of those for sure.
I'm right there with you. I think it's time. The LEDs have come far enough. It's time to switch. They're there.
Well, that's the kind of the cool thing is, so I've got a T5 table that's got Sun System LED bulbs in it. So it's actually got LEDs in the table. I've got I've got like 7 Galaxy Hydro tables. Dude, I picked up like 7 of them for like $120 or some shit. So I'm like, oh, that's extra light, fucking whatever. So that's kind of covering a veg area. But I've also flowered with them. Does not produce bad quality flowers, but they just make plants stretch like a motherfucker, and then they don't throw. Like you have to make sure they're like pretty well underneath of it, and you're only getting like a foot and a half of actual throw. So if you're gonna it's really good for if you have a really short, squat indica that's like in a small pot, like maybe like 2.5 feet tall, 2.5 feet wide. Throw one of those underneath it, dude, it'll crush the shit out of it. That thing, they grow a lot of resin. But I also bought those so that I can upgrade them. I'm trying to maybe throw some trees in, like actually like upcycle them. But I've got the EST Tech LEDs, 4 ceramic metal halide 315s, the Sun System T5 table, the 7 Galaxy Hydro LEDs, and then the 2 Gavitas that I also switch out a 10K bulb with.
Chris Martinez wants to know, what is the strain in clone-only form are you hunting for?
Not really anything, honestly. Like, I've kind of got connections to get whatever I want, so it's not like that big of a deal. Like, I just asked, like, when I restart, I can just be like, hey, bud, I want this strain. Okay, well, here, this dude has it. Okay, cool. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, my wife's been asking me for cheese, and I was like, okay, I'll finally just hook you up. I'll get you cheese. Dude down the street had it. Cool. Like, it's good to have connections. Like, I'm not, I don't want to be egotistical, but I'm kind of known. Like, people kind of know who I am, like, on Instagram, obviously. Like, I have quite a bit of connections, but I've done a lot of consultations. Like, I was consulting 3 farms a week. Well, so it's whenever I consult, it's a 2-day class. Because, like, the first day is me driving to you and us picking up all the ingredients and making everything and going over the whole entire class, which is about a 10-hour class. And then the next day is like another 6 to 8 hour class. Because then we go over everything we made, touch everything, and go over the entire packet again, and then answer any questions and do another walkthrough. So I was doing 3 of those classes a week. So I was doing 6 days of consulting, driving all over the fucking place. I was doing that for about 10 months, but it takes a toll on you, for sure. But I've met a lot of really cool people doing it. A lot of really cool people, a lot of people that have definitely used the technique. I've had people that just were like, I don't fucking like this. I'm going to go back to my old ways. And I've had people that were like, holy shit, this completely opened up my door. And just like, dude, they just completely changed their lifestyle. Like their grow style, their lifestyle. They're like, dude, I've never had weed this fucking good. There's no reason for me to try anything else because I can make everything. This is awesome. And I know why I'm doing it.
So, I mean, you as from a recreational smoker, I mean, we all started off rec basically, but at one point in your life, did you notice the medicinal effects of it? And
Oh yeah, immediately. Like the second I started smoking, I noticed I never got bronchitis. I really, really feel like I had a cannabinoid deficiency. And the second I started smoking weed, they're like, oh, dude, like, yeah, let's just boost your immune system real fucking fast. Like, no more getting sick, no more sniffles, no more coughs, no more bronchitis. I was like, dude, this is fucking awesome. Because I was getting sick all the fucking time. I was like, why? Dude, start smoking? But nope, not anymore. As long as I smoke my own weed, dude, I'm fucking healthy for it. Except for the heart problem.
so, and with that being said, I mean, how did you ever have any words with that cat? That I mean,
Yeah, he was
obviously
actually one of my, in quotation, friends. I used to work with him. I was like, dude, you fucking straight up poisoned me, bro. He's like, we talked about it. I'm like, dude, you sprayed Abbott on all that shit. He's like, yeah, I got fucking paid for it, dude. I wouldn't know why. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking permanently sick because of your bitch ass. He's like, I don't give a fuck. You shouldn't have spoken it. You didn't tell anybody, dude. You were selling it to me with fucking no problem. You knew you were getting people sick. And you didn't give a fucking shit. You just wanted to get fucking paid.
I can't believe somebody could look you in the face and fucking say some shit like that after they know flat out they made you sick.
Dude, and this dude was my, in quotations, friend. I'd worked with the dude for a while, and then I went out to his farm and was like, oh, dude, you're doing good. Like, he had, like, 15 footers. Like, he had some fucking big plants, and it was all sold. He had, like, 52 fucking monsters, and that was back when you could only have 99, period. So he was, like, you know, trying to make some fucking money. But again, like, he just fucking didn't give a fuck, obviously. Or, dude, a lot of people that use Abbott that are old school cats don't know or don't give a fuck because they've used it for so long. They're like, well, if I was going to get sick, I'd already be sick, so whatever. Yeah, it's like the whole wearing the mask thing. It's not for you. It's for everybody else.
So, what are some of the medical effects that you've noticed for some of the people around you, or say patients? I mean, what do they use it for, and how they utilize it?
What, Avid?
No, cannabis.
Oh,
How are they using?
I'm
I
like,
mean, how
cannabis
do?
is only made for roses and Christmas trees, made for shit you don't touch. But I used to go to a dispensary all the fucking time, dude. I actually saw a dude that actually had a part of his spleen blown out in some war and had a morphine pump installed on his back. And he was taking 6 times strength morphine that would fucking kill a normal dude. And he would lay in bed all day for a full week. Like he could only buy a week's worth of meds at a time. So, but he could only go to the store every 2 weeks. So the second week would literally be so immobile he would be just full strength on his morphine and still couldn't get out of fucking bed. Like couldn't move, like bedridden. Like had to be taken care of in bed because he couldn't fucking move. And he would go into the shop and like take his walker and just like pretty much shake because he couldn't fucking take it. It was bad. And then he's like, yeah, dude, if I smoke weed though, I can go down to 2 strength and it works better. He found out that THCV, so you know all the THC, CBD, CBG, CBN, blah, 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 blah. He found out that THCV actually helps. So if you're taking anything like morphine or any kind of pain medication, it actually helps open up the D2 receptor of your brain that actually helps with pain. And it just helps you absorb your medication and utilize it better. So he could actually jump down to 2 strength morphine and actually walk and be mobile for a week. Second he ran out of meds, he's back to 6 strength. He couldn't move. But again, I've also have patients of mine that, dude, they've got straight up like very bad respiratory problems. Like if it's smoky, they have to stay indoors with several like fucking air conditioners that have brand new filters that are just cleaning the air for them because they can't fucking breathe. They're like, dude, if there's anything on your meds, like I can't. It's not medicine. Like it's gonna hurt. So you got to make sure your shit's fucking clean. And nobody
So
ain't
you can.
gonna get fucking sick smoking my weed. Let's put it that way. The only time you're gonna get sick from smoking my weed is because it's too strong.
That's a sickness I've always welcomed right there.
Exactly. I'm too high. You are so lucky.
I honestly think that too, because I've only had a few strains in my whole smoking career that I've hit, and it's pegged my blood pressure and shit that high to where I actually had to puke real quick and went, whew, that's good shit.
Yeah,
And I fucking went right back into it. And it's
yeah,
good when
notice with my heart problem, I have to stay away from pure sativas and main sativas because it just gets my heart rate going too quick. I mainly smoke indicas and OGs.
So you don't seem like a very. I mean, obviously you get your shit done. I mean, we talked about this. I mean, you'd be laying down some fucking long ass days, but you don't seem high strung. You know what I mean? Sitting here in a conversation, you don't seem like very high strung. And how do you do it all day, knocking back the fucking dabs of the indicas, man? That'd be putting me down. It'd be nap time after about my 4th or 5th dab of them fucking indicas like that, man. Shit, what you've done so far tonight and during the show, I'd probably be already fucking dapping and shit if they were all indica.
Well, dude, I'm just broken as fuck from sports over the years. Like my knees are shot. I'm fucking working on plants and fucking ankles are done, wrists are done, elbows are done, back is barked. But again, I don't really sleep that often. I really haven't since I was like, I don't know, like 14 or 16. But like literally, my schedule, I wake up at like 10 a.m. and then I hang out with the kids, do the family, and then go to work. I take a nap at like 9 to like 11, and then I get up and work until 6 or 7 in the morning, and then wake up at 10 and do it again every day. So I get like 5 hours max.
Sounds like we hang right around the same sleeping schedule. Then that's for sure. That's about what I'm running on, 4 or 5 max. Max.
Yeah, I just don't do like 8-hour shifts. I just seem to do like 3 to 4s. Every once in a while, I'll sleep for like 12, but that's like once every 3 weeks or a month or so. Just always had pretty bad insomnia, but still, weed helps.
It's funny that you say that because I know I talk to a lot of people that seem to run on that, and that seems to match everybody's sleeping schedule. They're like, man, I can do it about every 3 weeks. I gotta fucking go down one day, man. It seems like fucking 12 hours.
Well, the shit part with the heart problem is all of a sudden one day I'm just not, like, it'll just start fucking with me. It'll just go out. It's like my heart will go out of sync, like how your dryer goes out, or your washing machine does, and you gotta like give it a kick and then it goes back in sync. Dude, that's my heart will just go out of sync, and then I'll just like, let it just suck the fucking energy right out of me, and then I'm like done for the rest of the day. Like I just like, oh, I have to sleep. Like just done. Like can't do anything. Some days are better than others.
That sucks, man. Off from a fucking something you love, man. That's sucking. I'm surprised. I be honest with you that you continued to with the cannabis after that. A
Well,
lot
the
of
big thing
people
that
it seem
sold
like
it for
may
me.
have.
Big thing that
Pardon
sold
me?
it for me is when I started going to the heart doctor. They gave me the first pill. All right, this is for heart arrhythmia. This is to help your blood pressure. We'll go ahead and do your blood pressure first. All right, well, now it's making me sick. All right, well, this is for nausea. All right, well, now it's giving me back pain. All right, well, here's for the pain. All right, here's for nausea. All right, here's for chest pain. All right, here's more for nausea. Taking like 8 fucking pills a day for like about 10 months. Literally just throwing up every single day from like 8 to noon, like fucking 4 hours straight every fucking day. Started looking up what they were giving me. Guess what the first one was? Rat poison. No shit. They wanted to thin my blood out. So no wonder why it's making me fucking sick. But again, found out that cannabis does all that shit for me. So they literally told me, okay, here is this first pill. If you don't take this 3 times a day, you are going to have a heart attack and death. That was 10 years ago because of this pain. Started growing it myself. Started figuring out people actually put bad shit on their plant. And start doing it myself. And dude, that is my medicine. Cannabis itself has got over 27 different essential B vitamins also. So it's literally a multivitamin.
Do you juice it at all?
Yeah, actually, I helped a friend of mine get through it. He had brain cancer, and was juicing cannabis. I gave him my juicer, and he was juicing cannabis every day. But he's like, dude, that helped so fucking much. He's like, it helped with nausea, it helped with a bunch of shit. Because the super active dude, second he go through chemo, dude, it looked like he'd been drinking for the last like 6 months. Like he was just dead. It was fucking shitty.
Yeah, it's hard to watch when somebody's going through that. It's a very tough final. That's for sure. So we walked our way through flower, our veg, pretty well. I mean, is there any tips you can give us, in flower?
Yeah. Fermented fruit extract, those are easy peasy. Anybody has a grocery, pretty much go to my Instagram, click my bio, it'll download it straight to your phone. It's a 14-page pack, like super, super easy to understand. It's got a feeding chart in the back. It will walk you through every single stage of how to do it. But again, if you have a grocery store, if you eat food, you can do this stuff for real. Like it's that easy, and you can make most of it. Like actually, like you can do all this shit for very, very, very cheap. Because again, you only need 1 to 5 milliliters of everything. So instead of you doing like a cup this big, this cup is I think it's like 250 mil. I think it's 250 gallons of food. That's a lot of fucking food. I'm like, that'll get you through a few runs. Because you're adding a mill of this, 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 a mill of this. It's not like, oh, you're adding 10 mils or 25 mils or 2 tablespoons or 4 tablespoons. No, it's literally so concentrated and complex. And again, if you know plants, you're like, oh, this needs more potassium, this needs more calcium, this needs more magnesium. Dude, you have them all individually separated. So you're like, oh, this is exactly magnesium and calcium. Okay, the magnesium's not showing in this plant how I like it. Let's bump the mag up in the cow mag supplement. That's easy peasy. It just makes a good grower way better. It just lets you know every element individually and lets you really see what the plant actually does. Especially with just going straight into soil. Dude, again, since you like coconut, dude, I would go buy a bag of any organic soil and go buy a thing of coconut and do like one 50-50 mix and one like 70-30 mix and see what you like. Because again, like you're going to notice whenever you put your plant in the soil, you're not going to have to feed it for the first like 5 to 7 days. That's the nice thing. And again, if you make your mix right and you have enough food in your soil, you don't have to feed it, and then you can uppot it. See, like again, this guy right here, this cheese, it's only been, I think it's only been fed 2 or 3 times now.
Some nice roots already, that's for sure.
I mean, it's ready for a new home. And it really hasn't even been fed any, like, actual root food. It's just been pretty much baby with a little bit of CalMac, that's it.
Nice. Any certain teas that you use during flower? I mean,
oh man, there's a million different teas. How deep into teas do you want to go? I could talk a couple hours about teas. I ran full runs with just teas. Actually, I did a light depth. Actually, it was 5 light depths that were 30 by 100 feet. There were 750 plants each. No, it's 450 plants. No, I have 750 plants each. They were fucking in a hydro medium, pretty much. It was in like, what was it? It was in a, I don't remember the brand, but it was in a pretty much hydro medium. And they picked like sour diesel, like heavy feeding strains. And they wanted it done organically. Guess what? You got to give them food every single time you touch them because sour diesel is such a heavy feeder. Holy shit! But yeah, that was interesting. That was kind of a pain in the ass. It worked, but it's, I mean, like you slop them every time, and you got to do a 2 nutrient cycle teas, and then two nutrient cycle teas, and then a compost tea. But then your compost tea switches from bacterial to fungal dominance once you switch from vegetable flour. But you also want to make sure your soil is fungally dominated. But if there's no food in your soil, there's no way really to be fungally dominated because there's no really like fibers. It's all just medium. It's going to dry out so fast that mycelium really can't even run through it. But yeah, it's like alfalfa meal, kelp meal, fish bone meal, earthworm castings. I put a bunch of the KNF shit on top of it too. I do vinegar, OHN, IMO, fermented fruit extract, the under one, water-soluble calcium, water-soluble CalMag, fermented bubble hash water, water-soluble potassium, and aloe and coconut water. And you shit all the time. Like literally, you brew a tea, you wait a day, you brew a tea. But again, the last farm that I ran with the 2,500 plant farm, we were throwing out 6,000 gallons of food once to twice a week, and then spraying everything once or twice a week too.
Chiba Man here in chat is saying that we need to get this guy back again and again and again. So much knowledge. Shooting you some major props there, brother. That's for sure.
Again, it's all live and fucking learn, man. Expensive lessons. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they are too. But obviously, they've done you some good. I mean, you're teaching others, and you're killing it. I mean,
yeah. Next step is moving, buying my own place, and then I'm gonna do a small bulk plant outdoor. Invest that into light depths, and I'll get a license, and I'll do 2 50 or 30 or 30 by 65 foot greenhouses. I want to do just basic ones, a full tarp myself. I'll do 3 runs there, and then the small outdoor. And I'll take the first run, invest that into an outdoor. So the outdoor will be like, I want to do a half acre. Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Just a second.
Okay.
P-Win, Ivan, or Even, Greg Hamilton, Devin Shipwreck, Chris Mertz, how you guys doing? If you guys have any questions, please please tag me in. He cannot see, he is not able to read chat, so please tag me in the questions so I can address them for you. I would appreciate it. Hope you guys are enjoying tonight's episode. P Win, how you doing? No worries, man. No worries.
Yeah, take the depth, invest that in outdoor to a half acre, and then take that, invest that in indoor shop, and then take that and invest into auto depths. I'm gonna do all that myself.
Nice. That's a pretty big dream there. That's a pretty big dream, that's for sure.
Oh, it'll happen. Give me 2 years on $100 to get me, but actually give me maybe 6 months and I even already have to start mowing.
I can already tell by the way. Oh,
my last one did stick me for about 170K. One before that, 150K. Yeah, again, expensive lessons.
Yeah, that's another thing. I guess another road we can go down is sounds like you've been down this road before. So any lessons for like an inspiring grower like myself, like yourself, that is thinking about making that step up and going and maybe working for somebody else on the more large scale grow? Any advice to them when they're putting in there? Pardon that?
If you do one season, you'll know why I'm saying this. Because again, if you're gonna do a grow, do it yourself. Build your own empire, for sure. Learn yourself, experiment yourself. More experience you can get fastest, the best you can. Like again, I did outdoor, indoor, and light depth, multiple rooms, indoor, multiple depths, multiple outdoor spots, all at the same time. As many strains as I could fucking get, as many different nutrients as I could get, many different mediums as I could get. Like I try to get as much experience as I possibly get as fast as I can. Like I've got a lot of fucking rooms. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I've been growing for 12 years outdoor. Well, you got 12 runs. I've been doing multiple rooms indoors since I started. I haven't shut my indoor down. Like I've been running 12 years and at least 3 runs a year minimum. And I'm normally running at least 3 or 4 rooms at a time and doing outdoor and doing like a bunch of light depths and running other people's properties.
Nice.
Like, get as much experience as you can by yourself. Like if you want to work for people, you know how they treat Mexicans that don't speak English and the whole crew is English? That's how you're going to get treated because you're like, you don't have any experience. They're just, okay, we'll pick leaves. Go shovel dirt. That's what they're going to do. You're going to shovel dirt from April until the end of July, maybe all the way into August. And then you're going to pull leaves for 8 hours a day, minimum, for 6 days a week, like in the sun. Unless you are the head grower, it's not. If you're the head grower, everybody's drama's on you. Everybody's drama's on you. All the works. You have to worry about all the work scheduling, all the feedings, all the pumps, all the water, getting water, like people's checks. Like you got a lot of shit to worry about if you're a manager. It's not. Make sure you get everything in writing from your investors. But again, if you want to work for them for 1 year, you'll know why. If you walk in any place and it feels shady, oh, it is. Best advice I got for you, build your own empire. The only thing that's holding you back is you. If you want something done, if you've got a small garage, do it. If you've got a friend that's got a garage or a property, do it. If you can throw a couple plants outside here and there, do it. Figure out how to cycle more in. If you're like, hey, it doesn't snow here at all, guess what? You can grow year round. You can. You veg them inside, throw them outside. If it's like, for instance, right now, we're going into the flower cycle. So if you don't want plants to flower, you throw a couple hours of light on them in the morning, they'll stay in vegetative state and get bigger. If you're in like December, it's like 8 hours of light outside. So you veg them indoors, and then the second you throw them outside, they go to flowering. So they're just going to flower, but they're not going to stretch like they would from outdoor, but they're going to be a lot more potent. You just want to learn how to grow in as many styles as you can. Dude, where I'm from, it gets up to 125 degrees outside. fucking 125. That's hot as fuck. But I've also been in places where it was like my hometown is like negative 22 below zero in the wintertime. Dude, you can still grow in that shit. You just got to know how to do it. You double insulate your light depths, and then you run heaters, and you don't run intake and outtake. You run your intake and outtake to the floor, or you just straight seal it up. But you double layer it. Around radiate heat. Snow's pretty insulated. That's how igloos work. You just got to know how to do it. But you can grow anywhere. Again, you need space. Figure it out. You need lights. Anything works, but again, like with lighting, that's the biggest factor. If you're going to be a new grower, don't go with shit that might work. Don't go with shit that looks like it's going to work. Don't try to build shit that you think might work. Right off the bat, get a real light. You can go on Craigslist and get any double-ended light for like $150. That will get you way more than your money's worth. You can throw a 6-foot area, 6 foot by 6 foot. So like 6 foot wide by 6 foot deep. Then you put a 6 by 6. You know how much money you can make on one 6 by 6, and then you can experiment? Yeah. Just do it for if you're gonna do it. Because you're gonna get just as much trouble for one plant as you would for 6. And you're also gonna get as much trouble from one LED, one little teeny tiny LED, as you would from one high pressure sodium. So make sure you actually spend the money on the light. Because if you don't, it's not worth it. You're getting experience, but you're getting slow growth, so you're slowing your learning experience down. Don't do one plant because you have nothing to compare it to. If something happens, you don't know why it's doing it. You need to try to get a couple of different plants, hopefully different strains, maybe meet different mediums when you first start. Just see what they do. So like this one throws this efficiency at day 14, and this one's not doing it. Well, this medium's got more food in it. Okay, that makes sense because they're the same strain. You just start learning little tricks of the trade. But you don't want to be so attentive you're touching your plants all the time. They don't like it. Plants like to grow naturally. Like, dude, plants aren't made in a lab that people grow. Like, no, they're in nature. They grow against trees. They're in open fields. Like, they're just growing. The more you fuck with them, they think something's attacking them. So they're not going to do what you want them to do. You only need to touch them at certain points in their life just to benefit them. But if it's not going to benefit them, don't touch them.
I can't help but touch them. I touch them all the time.
Well, I mean, like a lot of new growers will get a little teeny tiny plant and just want to crop it all the time or take all the leaves off it all the time. Dude, it's too much. Just let it do its thing. Just watch it. But once you start getting experience and you know how you want to bend that plant, you're going to need a lot of training and a lot of plants to go through to figure out, oh, fuck, I bent that one too much. Now the top's ripped off it and the whole plant looks like shit. Or you go, ooh, that looks great. And that did exactly what I wanted it to. Okay, now do that to 2,500 more. And see if it's the same every single time. That's how you have to do it big scale. If you're like, okay, we're going to pinch. You got to pinch every single fucking plant. Because that's how you do it big scale. You got to pay somebody to do that. So, to a point, like again, when I do it at my place, I like to freaking Swazi. You ain't doing that big scale. There ain't no fucking way. There's no way. Especially in the sun. The sun's producing like more leaves than you can count.
But if you're putting it out in that weight, that much weight, you don't have to put out that many numbers. I mean, correct? I mean, if you've got a good technique in it, you're matching what you need.
Yep.
And what you can handle.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like if you looked into KNF and you try just like literally a light soil blend with your coconut, like not even switching your coconut, just literally adding a little bit of light to it, but keeping it nice and light, but you could still feed it all the time, I feel like you'd be happy. Like, I feel like if you got into it, you'd be like, oh, fuck, this is great. Because I could just take these two all the time, just fucking go 50-50 with these two. Like, oh, all the time I need fucking calcium and magnesium, so okay, make a shitload of CalMag. And then since you're in a coconut, it's already got high potassium, so you just need high nitrogen. So you use a nitrogen fixing bacteria in like a soybean meal, which is like a 1500. Boom, you got your veg right there, all dialed in. And then you can feed a little bit of fermented fruit juice, which is a 050-30, to help balance out your phosphorus and your potassium if you need to.
I kind of heard you mention the coconut a little bit. I mean, do you suggest adding? I've seen it, the dry coconut to add to your waterings. What
Coconut
kind of
water, yeah, it's got
benefits?
enzymes, electrolytes, amino acids, all kinds of different shit to it. Same thing with aloe. You can actually aloe for veg, coconut for flour, because coconut's got like, I believe coconut water's got the highest amount of potassium, and then aloe has got I don't remember what the enzyme in it is, but the enzyme in aloe changes at like 45 minutes into something else, I believe, with different enzyme. I don't know what it was, but off my head, I haven't thought about it.
Before it's late. No way.
Oh, it's not
What
even
are
late. That's
some?
like another like 6 hours.
So what are some natural plant PGRs that you were mentioning there? Uh,
Well, kelp's a natural
everybody.
bud hardener, and alfalfa's got tricantanol, which is a natural plant steroid. Also, if you pick your alfalfa super fresh, it actually also kills bad nematodes. It's also got a
Nice.
lot of
I've heard
protozoa in
that.
it that it will also help clean up ponds.
I've
More
heard you
fresher
can
it is,
go
more
heavy.
protozoa is.
I've heard you could go heavy-handed on both. When's a good time to cut off on that system in flour to where it's not needed?
So, so with any kind of liquid feeds, depending on how granular and thick it is, with all the KNF, you can pretty much push it until like your last watering if you wanted to, or even your last week if you wanted to. With heavier things like back guano and fish meal and like shit like liquid feeds like that, I like to lean off on those about like week 5, 6. Anything high phosphorus, like high phosphorus back guano, fish bone meal, or anything just a super, super high pK that's not my actual flour food that I don't taste at all. Top fed is week 5. But I try to mainly top feed going right in the flour if I want to. But most of the time, like my soil's pretty well built enough, and my feeds I can always. That's the nice thing about the KNF is if you're trying to build your soil, the more you build your soil, the less you're gonna have to do. Like literally, if you keep your soil alive and keep adding to it, balance it out, you fucking water it. So you take a blunt mat system, you stick a stake in it, and it auto waters it. So you literally plant your plant and walk the fuck away. It's that easy. It's literally that easy. It makes you money from doing nothing. How much more space you can fill the time you're not using them? Like it's like putting everything on auto water, but it's organic. It's literally sensing the moisture content in your soil and then auto dripping it as needed. But yeah, you just really want to start like if you get your soil tested, they say if you amend it like 3 times, it should be pretty fucking on point. Where you only have to add a little bit of food in between cycles, and you just keep going. And it gets better and better, and less work, less effort you have to put into it each run. The nice thing about the modern natural farming is anywhere where it lacks, you can make up for it. If you're like these aren't processing fast enough, you can give them microbes so they'll start eating the food faster and start feeding the plant quicker. If you're like, oh, I want to again, if they're sitting in your soil, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on foliar feeding. You can foliar feed them food, and they're gonna rub it in like lotion and just fucking keep going fast as shit. Like you can correct shit pretty fucking quick with foliar feeding. I've literally sat in my room with a spray bottle of high nitrogen and calcium, magnesium and calcium on the other hip, and compost tea in another bottle, and sat here and had a few plants that were a little yellow, and just went spray, 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 and waited for them to dry out. Came back, spray, 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 like did that like 15, 20 times that night. They just drank it, and they just fucking went straight green for me. They were yellow as fuck, and they were just like, all right, cool, we're just gonna eat through here. So I was like, well, the soil got a little bit overwatered. It's not gonna drink it up, and they're just sitting here like trying to do some fucking weird bullshit. So I just stayed there and fucking started foliar feeding them, and they came back. You just think that's actually how a lot of the organ growers have to do it. So I have a buddy that grows in. It's almost like the marshland. Like when he plants his plants, there's almost a layer of water on the ground. So he doesn't water at all. It's like a natural sit system. He just foliar feeds. That's all he does, and plants just go. But again, you only foliar feed up until you start seeing THC, and then they're done.
Nice. Chiba Man, I'm sure you've already got a bunch of follows and questions on your page. Chiba Man is asking where again on his IG page is that 14 page of info?
It's on
Probably in
my
the bio.
bio. Yeah, it's in my bio. If you look at my picture, it should be like a few lines right below. It should be like a highlighted, different colored little thing. You click that, should be right below.
Devin Shipwreck is asking, do you prefer seeds?
It doesn't matter to me. Seeds are fun, but the way I run my stuff, I have a bunch. Again, I got a bunch of different rooms going, so I normally try to keep my bags full. Like I try to plan them out so I at least have a full pound of each strain coming out. You know what I'm saying? Seeds, I'm normally pheno hunting unless they're super stable, which everything I've made so far, I haven't found anything in it, any Hermes or anything. But you get a bunch of different variations. So you get some that are tall, some are short, blah, 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 blah. So you have to go through and clone all those before you throw them in flour, label them all, and then run them all, smoke them all, and be like, this is the best one. And then you have a clone of it, and you kill off all the rest of them. And then you've got a mother plant. You clone that out, and then you've got 50 of them or whatever. But I normally try to keep mother plants to be like, okay, here's my library. I need 50 cuts of this. All right, here's my other library. I need 50 cuts of this. But again, like, since I'm doing the totes, it's actually really nice because, again, 2 plants in like 2.5, 3 weeks, they're going to be bushes. Like, they're going to be fucking ready to go like, easily. Like, they're going to be like pretty filled out. So I just train little natural slopes, but I'm going to put a nice screen on it and just make a flat. You just need to put as many hedges as you can. But with the trellising, what's nice is as soon as that plant goes through it, you pull it sideways, and then it'll hit that trellising, and it'll try to grow through it. You just take that head and you tuck it around again, and it's going to go through that. But every single time you do that, one of the arms on it's going to grow out and make a new top, and then try to fill that hole. So you're just literally taking the head and starting it. And then once those arms pop out, you just keep tucking those underneath. Keep literally the whole trellis. You just keep fucking tucking them underneath, and they'll just keep fighting their way through. Once you think it's full enough, flip it, and you have colas, like good 18-inch colas, like, 200 of them, 300 of them. It's really easy. They're really symmetrical when you're done trimming them all. And you're like, oh, here's my top, nice little small balls, and then you're ready to fucking rock. There's not really anything underneath.
Do you sprout using a corn or barley tea? You sprout your seeds using a corn or barley tea?
No, most of the time I just do water and paper towel. Easy. Just throw them in some water until they sink. Throw them into a moist paper towel and put a Ziploc bag for a few days until they throw tails, and then throw them into the dirt.
When I'm curious to know, because you've done a lot more outdoor growing there, but I have heard others speak of the taproot vigor from a seed outdoors. Is that something you've noticed, that the seed sowed freshly to the ground is a little bit more vigorous than a clone outdoors? That taproot vigor
Seeds always produce better outdoors, honestly. But again, like, the only problem with doing seeds is you got variation, so your bags are going to look different. So if you do like, oh, we got 1,000 cuts of ChemD. Okay, cool. You've got ChemD that all looks the same, all of it. It all smells the same, tastes the same. If you do seeds, you might have 20 different variations. You might get something that tastes hella orangey. One tastes like orange cream. One tastes like lemon. One tastes like Durban. One tastes like. Then you have to label them all individually, and then you can't they all have to be trimmed individually. It's just a pain in the ass. And then you have to be like, oh, this one plant is this, and this one plant is this. It's just, or you have to group them. You're like, okay, all this is this one strain. All this is this one strain. But nobody wants to come up and go, oh, we've got kryptonite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, nobody wants to see that. Like, they all want just like, oh, this is all Donny Burger. This is all Triangle. This is all Gelato.
Right on.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Welcome, Fresno Weed Nerds. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Always a pleasure to have you in chat, that's for sure. Once again, I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you have any questions, please tag me so I can ask him. He is not able to watch chat, so I have to relay questions. But what are you guys smoking on? I'm able to watch chat. I'm counting out the grow off seeds here while I do this interview. Counting out packs of jelly bean. Start sending them out. Hopefully, I'll be getting them out Saturday morning at the latest. I should have everybody's that has emailed me out by Monday. I think we're up to like 50 or 60 so far. Easily covered. Easily covered. I got you guys. So if you guys are still interested in getting in on the grow along, please email me at eaglegardens1@gmail.com, or you can hit me up at eaglegardens1 on Instagram, or you can also reach me at fucking talking shit with Eagle on Instagram as well. Thank you. So, yeah, man, it sounds like you like really nailing it down. I mean, can you roughly tell us? I mean, not exactly, but where are you? I mean, can you tell us where you're at?
North Cali, in Northern
Oh, nice.
California.
Nice,
Born
nice.
and raised.
Huh. Guess having another good summer out there. You got
Oh,
fires affecting you
right.
out there?
Just really smoke. Actually, my fucking car's covered in ash. Let's put it that way. But there's nothing like really immediately around us. A few years ago, we had a fire that was pretty close to our that burned part of our town. Well, at least we don't have fires right here right now. They're fucking enough that we've got. I can see smoke in the streets. See smoke in the streets and ash is falling from it. You can see ash in the air.
Yeah, that's got to be crazy, man. I live in the forest, and man, that shit just. Oh, I don't even like to think about forest fires, much less it being constant threat like it seems to be for you guys over there, man.
Yeah, every single year. Yeah, last year we were harvesting. I was running that farm in Santa Rosa last year, and we were harvesting, and I could literally see the fire on the other hillside. And we were just like, oh, we're just fucking gonna drive through the smoke and fucking harvest. Yeah, at that point, I was managing like a 12-man crew.
How do you? I mean, it's got to be a bitch when you're growing outdoors. I mean, how do you keep the ash and shit off the buds? So yeah, I mean, you pull in tarps when it's falling if you have to. I mean,
It's fucking hard, man. Most time you just gotta wish for the best you can, honestly. Like, thankfully, the wind was blowing the opposite direction, like almost all the time. That's what kept the fire back. But yeah, this year, dude, it's falling on everybody's shit. Like, and unfortunately, if ash hits your plants and the buds grow, you can have ash inside of your buds, and that's high yeast. You will fail for that.
man, that's crazy. That is crazy. So, how have the new laws? How have you prefer? Everybody hates the new laws over there in California. I mean, how has it affected things in your area?
My place has been pretty illegal for a while now.
Chris Martinez is asking: Is do you have any tips for outdoor IPM for caterpillars? Excuse me.
Yeah, look into Monterey BT. It's BT stands for Bacillus thuringiensis. It's actually a natural bacteria that actually no, it's spinosad and A and B. Spinosad A and B actually is a natural thing that's in your dirt, but you can't use it to California standards anymore. But the Monterey BT, you can. It's a bacteria that when you spray it on caterpillars, it actually liquefies their stomachs, but it evaporates in the air in 24 hours and doesn't affect us. But you want to spray before every full moon is when they come out. But what I like to do is just literally go out and shake it solo with your hand. Just take it, and just fucking give it a good little shake, like not super aggressive, but enough to shake it out. You see the moths come out of it; they're laying eggs, so you need to really look for it.
I hear the problems like that, and just outdoor just suddenly doesn't seem too appealing.
Dude, we went through about every bug you could think of last year, and I fucking whooped their ass. I was so proud of myself because again, we got cuts that were the worst cuts I've ever fucking seen in my life. And the boss was so proud of it. He was like, oh, these cuts are awesome. We got a bunch of them. Look how big they are. Yeah, they came with pythium, so their fucking stalks were rotten at the bottom, like right where it touched the cube. You touch the plant, it's just rotten. They had Fusarium, because we ended up getting this dirt tested later, and it fucking had it. Like, it was lab tested that it had it. That is soil cancer for 7 fucking years. They came with russet mites. They came with 3 or 4 different kinds of powdery mildew, spider mites, and fucking aphids. I'm like, you have to try to get all this shit. How the fuck is this possible? Like, this is insane. So I had to deal with all that shit right from the beginning, and then we had a little bit of russets run through, and we whooped their ass, got rid of the damage, and it didn't go anywhere. And then the aphids fucking came out of nowhere. Those fuckers are kind of interesting, kind of hard to beat. A lot of people are trying essential oils and sulfur and a bunch of like plant therapy and soap. Dude, you need hard pressure water. If you see them on your stalks or on your plants, you got to take the hose like straight up. We did this agricultural style. You have to go and take hard ass pressure water and blast the fuckers off the plant with just hard water until they let go. The second they let go, they die. But if you can't use any kind of pesticides or insecticides or any of that shit, doesn't affect them at all. And they are born pregnant and they breed a lot. They breed at least like 3 to 6 times a day. Like, they breed fast as fuck.
Chris
We
Martinez.
also ran into a cabbage top beetle. It's weird. They come out of nowhere, hit the top of the plant, bite it one time, then all the growth starts looking weird, and then the bud starts looking weird and forms. It's fucking weird. It literally, like, it looks like, you know how a plant looks when it reverts? How it has that weird curl? But the big leaves are doing that, and it does it to, like, all the new growth. It just keeps doing that. And the bud will still form, but it just forms fucking funky as shit. But again, we whooped the shit out of everything there. I was super proud of that shit. And yeah, whatever. Shit happens. Dude wanted unexpected, super high numbers. I mean, most people hit like 500 pounds on an acre, and I hit 1,700 on 1 acre.
Damn, that's a nice run.
Well, we had 1,700 pots, and we double planned because dude didn't want to listen to me when we wanted to plant. And didn't want to listen to me when we wanted to amend it. Dude, it was just a nightmare the whole time. He wanted to fight me about it. Made the best of it. Double planted everything. Still had plants that were like fucking 14 feet tall. Like, they're still huge. But I ended up being like, hey, I need another 500 plants. I'm going to take 10-gallon pots and we're going to fill holes. Any hole between two plants, we're going to fill it. We were running huge rows. They were like 125-foot rows or some shit.
That's a lot of fucking plants. I can only dream of having, at this point, I can only dream of having 500 at my tits. You know what I mean?
Dude, I was trying to talk dude and getting another fucking half an acre to a couple acres going. Like, I was like, dude, we can do 7 acres, no fucking problem, dude. Like, just let me set it up and I'll fucking do it. So it's all about auto watering. It's not hard. It's all about getting your pots in and just getting irrigation lines to it. It's easy.
So with all that Cali outdoor bud and the fallen ash and stuff, is there times where you guys are you guys washing them outdoor crops?
No, we try not to. We try not to touch them as best we can. I try not to even big scale. Like, I only try to spot spray past week 3. Like, I try to do a really good heavy sulfur spray right before they go into flower, right before the trichome starts showing. It's a good preventative for russet mites, because if they're sitting there, they're going to die on contact. And the new growth from flowering is going to come out of the sulfur, so it's not even going to touch it. So it's just going to literally sit on hold for it. But then I really just try to spot spray if any problems. And if so, it's still only like water if possible. If it's something that's not super crazy, just water. But again, like, I don't really like using any product. Honestly, I don't like dunking bugs either. Like, there's companies out there that will buy fucking bugs. They can buy fucking, whatever.
So obviously you're a dry trimmer. So do you buck and then just hang when it comes time to harvest?
Yeah, bucket hang. You just have to on that scale. You can't trim for a while. Well, you can, but trim. It all depends because if you have any weed that's like not solid as a fucking rock, wet trimming sucks dick. The machine just eats it. Like, and you're paying, like, you got to pay quite a few people to actually go and trim fucking that much. Especially, like, even a team of, like, 10 people is only going to end up trimming, like, 35 pounds a day. Like, if they're having to do all that shit themselves. I mean, that's, like, 3.5 pounds each. That's, like, a pretty good fucking day trimming, too.
Sure. Man, so what size of farm what's your setup? I mean, obviously you've already have it clicking in your head because I could tell by that answer that it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I like that answer myself. I did. I smiled when you said it because I'm the type of person that believes that you can have anything you want. You just gotta have that fucking goal in your head, the picture. You gotta see it to that to work towards. It sounds like you can see it. So
Well,
what?
everybody wants to build their own heaven. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Why not sit here and try to build your own?
So what's your when you can cut it away? What's your ideal system like gonna be like when you can set up first round?
I want a pretty decent sized house. Like at least a 3 bedroom, maybe 2 story. But I want to have like a detached shop that'll run at least 9,000 watts in it. It'll have all rolling tables, and I want to run those EST tech LEDs. So I'll need quite a few sets to do that, but that'll be a really nice fucking thing. Run it all off solar, and then have two GrowTech auto depths. They're 50 by 100 foot with a 6 foot wet wall with LEDs in it, and get it all in beds. Put it all on auto feed. Do two of those, and then a half acre with like a massive fucking 4,000 gallon brewing system that I want to turn all into a 4,000 gallon vortex brewer. Because I know I can. I've done a 500 gallon. I want to do 4,000 gallons. Need a lot of fucking air.
Shit, did you ever? I mean, sounds like have you ever grown on the personal level? I mean, that fucking 4x4 that sounds like you've been on a larger scale for quite some time. You know what I mean? For most
Yeah,
of your
again,
career,
I
I
did.
would say.
Well, I've done quite a few, not quite a few, but a handful of 99 plant gardens, a lot of personal gardens at multiple locations, outdoor, several depths. I've done depths by like I used to do, again, I had a depth that was built into a hillside off of a house. It was sick. I did a bunch of runs in that. I did several depths to get that depth built. Personal outdoor there, hidden in the hills. We had to hike to. I did it was two depths that were like 450 plants each, and then 120 plant outdoor, and then those five 30 by 100 foot depths with just me and one other guy, and then I did that big one, that 2,500 plant one, and then just always kept my personal going all the time. Like personal, make most of the time at least 2 to 4 or 5 rooms.
Hey, and your personal grow, wouldn't you prefer to run during the day or at night?
Oh no, you
Which is
gotta
more
run everything
convenient?
at night. It's 110 to 120 degrees. So, like even at fucking midnight, it's still like 98. Like you have to run all your shit. But again, like I have all mine. That's another reason why I run multiple rooms instead of one big room, because one big room they can see pretty fucking easy. Over here, I've got multiple timers that go off, so when one timer goes on, another light goes off. They're staggered throughout the day, so it's not like a general like whack. It's like a ding, 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 whack, ding, 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 whack. So it just looks like multiple things are getting turned on at certain times. instead of like one giant, like, oh, it's 12 and 12, let's put on 9,000 watts. You'll be having knockers for it.
Right on. That's still like that big of a problem. I mean, are they flying over there still?
You can
God, you
smell.
guys have been doing it.
I'm in kind of a residential area. I'm in a really good spot, but like you can, like when I'm in flower, you can definitely smell my block away. Like even with garbage filters.
It's hard to believe that they're still fucking with you guys over there. I mean, you guys have
Dude,
been
I used
doing
to.
it for so long. I mean, it seems
Oh yeah.
like California would be the most settled place right now as far as cannabis goes. But you guys seem to be picked on by the feds, and you guys seem to like fuck up your own system over there.
Yeah, everybody wants you to be 100%. Which again, like they're pretty lenient on like mom and pop stuff as long as you're not like slanging a shitload of stuff. You know, like they just don't want you to draw attention. Yeah, they want you moving it over the border. So pretty much like if anybody wants a product, they come to me. Because again, like even distributors can just pick it up from me. That's totally fine. Like I actually have quite a few friends that are distributors. They're like, anytime you've got any fucking product at all, call me. I'll buy all of it. So it's not a matter of how much I can give you, it's how much I need to fucking keep.
Right on, right on. It's always good to know that you can get rid of it if need be. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it's still getting pretty good prices for it. Again, because it's very top shelf indoor. And again, even my outdoor looks like indoor. My depths look way better than most people indoor. And my indoor looks fake.
Without, really.
That fucking bubble hash water, bro. I'm telling you, that shit, it's glands on glands. Like that shit just, dude, you're feeding glands to build glands. But I also try to use a bunch of different kind of color spectrums to help increase my glands when I drop temperatures at certain times. Try to just, I don't really try to go for weight. I go for potency. Weight just comes along with it. But no, there's no reason smoking it if it's not potent.
I agree. Yeah, I've been fucking pushing the hash water thing for fucking years. Again, not knowing really the science behind it, just knowing my plants fucking love it. I've like everybody I asked that I talked to makes bubble. In fact, we did a show on this, Michigan Bros Grow show. Where I was like, because I just made some bubble. I'm like, what do you guys do with your water? It seems like a fucking. You're obviously there's stuff being wasted there. It's full of fucking turfs. There's broken off heads in there. I mean, we actually came up with we were tossing around and Abolish Farms come up with the idea. And again, it's probably something you're only going to do if you're running a nice, clean, organic garden. But he made Kool-Aid out of his bubble hash water, and it was really good.
Yep.
It was really good. But I was
kind of funny.
telling everybody.
The nice thing about bubble hash water is all the microbes that you're actually harvesting throughout the entire process of you growing, if your plant is still healthy, your microbes on your plant surface are really strong. So when you make your bubble hash water, they're all sitting there. So you're literally taking them and transferring to the next run. So every time you make bubble hash, you just take a quarter of your 5-gallon bucket and pour it out and add a quarter of your new water to it. Add a little bit more sugar each time, and it'll keep making it's called a pedicle, but it's pretty much a SCOBY. But it's just a white layer of mycelium growing on the top of your pot. But yeah, it's pretty funny whenever guys that go full synthetic start going organic, so they start getting different kinds of life. They'll get mycelium, they'll be like, "Whoa, there's white mold growing in my pot. What's that?" And then all of a sudden they'll water, they'll see little bugs start jumping up through their pots. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, they're springtails. They're actually like good life. They're composters. They're actually eating the mycelium in your soil, like actually composting the kelp and alfalfa and whatever else is in your dirt. And then you're like, what are these little white bugs running all over the dirt? They're predator mites. They're actually eating springtails and the mycelium, making more compost. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And you go, oh fuck, we gotta treat that. So you treat it. They get pissed off. They lay more eggs and they get bigger. You're like, holy shit, what the fuck happened? And then the plant's just like praying like a motherfucker. Though you're like, okay, I remember the first time when I switched to organics, that shit happened. I was like, what the fuck? This is weird. so many bugs, but they all stay in the pot.
I'm ready to eat my muffin.
But they all stay in the pot. It's funny. It's funny. It's their own little world. They're like, nah, I'm just gonna chill.
Eat my muffin.
How many? How many you got over there?
I got 2. I got a 5 and a 2.
Nice. Both girls?
Yeah. They're fun.
I got 3.
Oh, you got 3? Nice. You got boys, girls?
I got all girls. All girls.
All girls. Oh, man, I
now.
couldn't do 3. Could not do 3. Whew. Too much for me. I'd have to give one away.
If it were only that easy. Them girls are gonna wrap you around their finger, man. Girls, I mean, I love my girls all my heart, but man, them girls work me. Girls can work you, wrap you right around your finger, their finger, and work you. Where a boy, I don't think my boys would have got away with that. You know, that working me over as well.
Again, oldest is 5, and I'm like, you're not dating until you're married. Like, there's lots of holes, and there's lots of holes I can put you in and help. Don't. No, you can date when you're married. You know what they say? If you have a boy, you only got to worry about one dick. If you have a girl, you got to worry about every dick in town.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, you know, what's funny is I went through with that because I went with the mentality with I was gonna be crazy dad, but I was gonna like just make it my poor oldest daughter, make an example with the oldest daughter, and then the reputation will just follow. And then it worked pretty good until we moved, and then I had to come up north and fucking I'm like, God damn it, the legend's down there. Now I gotta come up here and fucking start something all again just to fucking keep the fucking girls keep the boys away from the girls. But yeah, it's a constant battle. It's a constant battle.
If anybody wants a dope ass hat, my buddy the craft farmer sells these hats, super thick, super nice. Again, his Instagram, craft_farmer. He made like one. This is one of 10. Ferment farmer. These are dope. Maybe wants one. We've got a bunch of them. All kinds of different kinds.
Hell yeah. Go make sure and shout out somebody, your friends and stuff. I highly encourage helping other people out. That's for sure. So I noticed on your page there, you must be making your own kombucha, huh? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah. Wife's been enjoying that, so we've been making all kinds of different kinds. Yeah, that shit's so fun, so easy. Something good, fun to do with kids.
I drank tons of kombucha. Tons. Save me some money. How am I gonna make it myself?
Easy peasy. Let's see, it's 6 bags of any kind of green or black tea with 1 gallon of water. Obviously, make 1 gallon of tea and 1 cup of sugar. Go get any kind of SCOBY, but you can go get just straight up like the raw kombucha, like the blue and white label one that just says like raw kombucha, non-flavored. It's got little pieces of remnant in it and little pieces of SCOBY in it. Literally just put that in a jar, like by itself. Put that in a jar, let it sit a week. It'll actually make its own SCOBY. Take that SCOBY, put it in your tea, let it sit another week. You're just going to kind of sip it for about day 5 to 10. Like, take it, give it a little taste. You can see where you like your sweet or tartness. And then from there, you just pour that into like your kombucha bottle. Like, you can, the ones you buy from the store, you can just start saving your bottles. Put whatever 2 fruits you like in your bottle. Like I like ginger and lemon, that one's really good, or strawberry lemon, that one's bomb. Any kind of aromatic and any fruit works really good. Anytime you can do ginger in it, it's gonna make it super duper carbonated. Anything with really high enzymes also seems to really carbonate really well, like the strawberry and lemon do really well. But yeah, just put 1/3 of that in that jar, put just the tea in it, put your cap on it, stick it in a dry, warm spot, and then every day go over there and burp it until you get the carbonation where you want it, and throw it in the fridge. Boom, done.
that shit's fucking great for your body, man. I've been drinking
Oh yeah,
this stuff for a while now. You
dude, the
actually
fruit
get,
in
I think
that
your
is
body
really
gets,
good.
I think your body gets addicted to it. Honestly, I really do.
But yeah, like that strawberry lemon, like the pieces of strawberry actually in the tea. You eat those, it's almost like you know how the strawberry texture is when you do strawberries and sugar for a strawberry shortcake, but they're carbonated. Like you bite into them and they're like actually carbonated. Like it's really, they're fucking really delicious, and they're already like composted because it's fermented, so it's probiotic. So it's actually extracted all the nutritional content out of the strawberry. So it's just carbon, which carbon's really good for your gut. So it's actually that your body doesn't have to take the nutrients out of it. Your body can just process it. But all the nutrients are in the liquid, and your body can absorb the liquid way quicker because it's already been like composted.
Have you ever made a can of kombucha?
Actually, it's really funny. I've actually taken my vinegar from my kombucha and used it as vinegar for cannabis. And again, like it's just a scoby's like super active bacterial yeast. So, like, why not? Like anything probiotic, anything good for you, you can definitely use. Just use your gut, see what plants like, see what they don't. The whole thing with the K and F is, again, it's mainly lactobacillus dominated because you're doing open fermentations. That's how they're making SCOBY. But you need to make sure, again, that's why I don't add lacto on top of everything because it's in everything. But the more you add of anything KNF, they're all pH 3. So if your water is 7, you need to add like 1 mil of a few things and it'll start dropping your pH. If you start dropping your pH too low, your plant's going to start looking weird. And if you hit a certain point, lactose is just going to ferment your root ball again. It's going to drop to 3 and kill the plant. So you want to be kind of just kind of keep an eye on your pH. You don't have to be, again, it's an organic range, so you can be between like 5.9 and 7.2. But again, like the higher your pH, the more inputs you can add. And again, like OHN and VIM, you can add as much of that shit as you want, as long as your pH is kind of in the right range.
So when you make some of this stuff, I mean, how long does the concentrate? How long can a concentrate last?
Over a year,
Especially
if
when
you keep
you're
adding, if you keep adding to it, they never go bad. Your VIM and your pretty much all of them, they last over a year easy. You can stockpile a shitload of it, and it's really fucking easy to make. Like most of it is sugar material. Like for veg food, sugar material. Fish, sugar, food. Fruit, sugar, fruit. Like that's what most of it is. Besides the OHN and IMO. But most of them, again, go to Google. What's the mineral content of strawberries, bananas, whatever you want, and it'll tell you exactly where everything falls. So like, oh, bananas are high in vitamin K and super high in potassium, and it's got B vitamins and iron and calcium. Like it's just gonna literally tell you. That's the cool part about our technology now. You can make your own concoctions. Like the big farm that I was on, we had a giant fig tree. So I would go, all right, guys, go grab fucking a 5-gallon bucket. Go get me some figs. We grab a 27-gallon tote. We grab a 50-pound bag of sugar and make like 20 gallons of flour food. But again, I was making 6,000 gallons of flour food once or twice a week. So like you need a lot, but it's all vitamin, it's all potassium, magnesium, calcium, iron.
Yeah, I asked about the kombucha. I've had a can of kombucha one time. That shit was fucking delicious. Very, kind of kicked me in the ass a little bit. I've never been able to find it since. That's why I was a little curious there.
Might be something you might be able to snag at a dispensary now.
Yeah, I hope so. 'Cause it was good.
Shit, you could probably even just take some of a little chunk of your bubble hash and throw it in your fucking kombucha and let that shit dissolve for a little while. You should make it into ISO. It's a little easier to dissolve with.
Never thought about that. Another reason I should start making my own, I guess.
Super easy, man. I just get some half-gallon mason jars. Just get a 6-pack of half-gallon mason jars. That'll make you like right around a gallon, like 3,000 milliliters of fluid.
Let's see here. Do you have any other tips that you're wanting to throw out? Why you've got the the microphone.
Tips. If anybody needs any kind of help, just hit me up on Instagram. You can DM me. I walk people through shit all the time. If anybody needs any consulting, you can hit me up. I have decided if I'm gonna start consulting again, because again, like I come to your farm and we make everything. It's like a 16 to 18 hour class. Not exactly like this one. You're gonna be taking notes and yeah, but yeah, I don't know. If anybody has any more questions about anything or any comments.
Any question or comments, guys, there in chat? Takes about 20 seconds for that to go through. It is not instantaneous by any means. So,
Okay. I was supposed to be there like 4 seconds ago.
So, I mean, all in all, how is the Cali outdoor coming this year? Is it going to be a good season for you guys?
Probably not. Now that all this fucking hash is coming on, it depends on how quickly they can get it fucking gone. Because a lot of people might fail for that shit. But every year is pretty decent year. Like weeds normally gone pretty fucking quickly over here. Like when I was over there, we were already having people wanting to pick up every single thing we had.
Yeah, we've had, I think it was like last night, the guest that was on last night was saying that everybody he's talked to there from Cali says they're like sitting on everything this year. There'll be no exports this year from Cali. Everybody's got
prices. Well, the thing is now that certain shit's happened, prices have gone up. Prices have gone back up, so depths are expensive again. Outs are expensive again. I think outs will be like fucking 14, 16 for like good deals, and then depths are going to go from like 18 to 22, and then ends are probably going to be anywhere from like 22 to 32. But I mean, I've always gotten really good prices for my end. Most people that buy my herb are like growers looking for head stash.
Yeah, I mean, your guys' prices at one point got scary. I mean, it was like I know we were watching here in Michigan, just going, "Holy fuck! If that's what's happening in Cali, I mean, how are we gonna stand a chance out here?"
Well, that's the thing is, quality is a big thing over here, and everybody's really fucking blind to it. So a lot of people will come up and be like, I just want to go get some acres, and I'm going to get as many plants as I can get, and I'm going to go get the cheapest nutrients I can fucking possibly get, grow as much weed as I can get, and sell it all. Okay, cool. So you got 10 guys that do that on the same fucking block. So they go out and go get Grow More, which is like $20 for a 50-pound sack. That's a 20-20-0. And they go get the other flower one that's a 0-50-50. And they grow these plants that are like 12, 13 feet tall, and they get these buds that you can't even fucking smoke. They're gross. They're not potent. They're like the high doesn't last. It just kind of gives you a headache, hurts your fucking teeth, and hurts your throat. And you're like, oh yeah, we flushed for like 5 weeks. You're like, holy shit, really? And then I'm over here like doing my organic thing, and they smoke some of mine. They're like, yeah, this indoor's bomb. I'm like, that's my fucking outsetter, dude. And they go, what? And I'm like, how much are you getting per pound? They're like, fucking $300. I'm like, $300 a pound? I'm like, I have the same strain as you. Guess what I'm getting for mine? I'm like, I'm getting 18 for my ounce. You're getting $300 for yours. What's the difference? Like, that's what it's like with the productivity with your indoor, too. So how much does it cost you per run? How much do your nutrients cost? How much does your medium cost? Okay, my medium gets recycled every time, so it doesn't cost me hardly shit. So I buy amendments in bulk. So I buy like 50-pound bags of this, 50-pound bag of this. That'll last me like 2-3 years. So like I literally like I don't recycle I don't reuse my medium. I make all my nutrients like one time a year, which is like $140. That's it. And again, I can pull like shit and fuck at least 40 pounds out of my fucking little dinky setup here with like 4,800 watts. Like last time I did a decent sized indoor, it was nine lights. We turned the middle one off because it was too much. We dimmed them all down to 600. So it was 4,800 watts. It was 9 4x4 beds with SFVOG in it, and it was 19 and a half pounds. So that's like 3.25 pound alike.
That's a good run. That's a good run for sure.
On a low yielding OG.
That's a nice run. It's a really nice run.
Yeah, I've got like a second place for concentrates for hemp second place for concentrates for, what was it, cannabis cup and Frisco, I believe it was. I've got 3 cups though, but they're with the owner because it was his farm. But we got one for best indica and best concentrate and best fruits. Our SFVOG light depth, and then our black scarlet for best indica.
I know you've already kind of touched on this earlier, but there could be more than one way, I guess. P-Win is asking, can you ferment fan leaves for newts? I mean, you
100%.
describe one.
Yeah, actually, easy peasy. Again, just take a handful of leaves, twist them up real good, and then put them in a bowl, add some sugar to it, mix them up really, really, really well, and then when you're fully done de-leafing, just stick them all in a jar, like lightly packed, and put a little bit of sugar on top of it, and just put a little, like a rubber band and a paper towel cloth over it, just something so the bugs don't get in it. Let it sit for a week, strain out the juice, use that 1 to 5 milliliters per gallon. Nothing cannabis loves more than being fed itself. And then if you do that in pre-flower, you have pre-flower hormones. So the next room, you can feed those to help them transition into pre-flower. If you ferment your bubble hash water, again, that helps them transition into their late flowering hormones. That's what also the fruit does. So any kind of fruit, they got to think about plants in general. So they're on a rose bush. What is the fruit of a rose? It's a flower. So that's the fruit of a rose. So if you want to pick roses, you can ferment roses, and that's just late flowering hormone. But it also has all the benefits of whatever roses have. But it's also medicinal herb.
What benefits can watering with fermented fruits give you?
Again, that's just,
profiles,
it's got terpenoids, flavonoids, super high phosphorus, super high potassium, transitioning hormones, late flowering hormones. It just makes your Brix levels higher. It's got carbohydrates. It's got, dude, that's when the sky becomes the limit right there. You can do your fermented fruit extract I show most people like a three part most of the time is what they tell you to do. But I've done all the way up to like 20 part, 25 part. It all depends on what fruit and vegetables I'm looking for to do certain things. Because again, like certain purple things have better things in them. Papaya's got super high phosphoric acid. Raspberries have got phosphoric acid. Avocado seeds have got super high phosphorus. Avocados themselves have omega-3 in fat. Cantaloupes have got a bunch of vitamins A, B, and C. It all depends on what you want. You're just trying to complete your nutritional table. Trying to, again, fill up your barrel so it's nice and full with all your slots the same. Trying to tag all your bases.
Yeah, I believe it was Duke Diamond was the first person I actually heard of, using the fruit ferments like that. And thought that was pretty
Duke
cool.
Diamond, is that Jerry? I think I actually know that dude in real life. I've talked to him on the phone a handful of times.
I wouldn't know I don't know his real name. Brothers Grimm.
No, I think that was somebody else actually. Who am I thinking of? Colorado. What his tag is. I'm looking on feed all the time. I've got a lot of people I talk to on Instagram.
I bet, man. It looked like you're up to what, 15K there? That's
like 13 or something like that. Yeah, I've been at 13 for a long time now.
That's a lot of followers. That's a lot of communication.
I think I've been on there for about like 5 years or so.
Chris Mertz is asking, how do you use avocado seeds?
Just try to cut them in half and throw them in your ferment.
what is what are you getting out of that by adding the avocado seed? You get out of that?
Super high phosphorus.
So what good books could you suggest for any of this stuff? I mean, you've had to have
Again,
read some.
you can go to my bio. When I first started, there's a Dr. Cho's Natural Farming Guide. You can type that into Google. Hawaii natural farming has got a lot of good information. The University of Hawaii is actually doing a lot of studies with Korean natural farming and jam. There's jam farming, which is Dr. Cho, who's the book producer of Dr. Cho's Natural Farming Guide. His son is the one that came up with jam farming. It's more of microbial solutions and like things you actually can extract from the laboratory and certain things. Gil Durangdang on just Google. He was one of Dr. Cho's students. Chris Trump on Instagram, I think he's on Facebook too. He's one of his students too. He does agricultural, vegetable and fruit farming. Drake's on YouTube. None of those guys had videos when I very first started. So like we all kind of, they all learned from him. I just picked up the book and was like, well, I'll give this a fucking try. And then brought it to cannabis and brought it to Instagram and started being like, hey guys, did you guys know you can use this on weed? And then everybody pretty much started using
it. I highly suggest that. That's one thing as a grower, and when I decided to get a little bit more serious about my growing techniques, I started just kind of set all the cannabis info that I could aside and started just researching like all kinds of gardening methods. I figured nutrients are nutrients. They've got to be working the same in the cannabis plant as in the other plants. Why not? That's where up till now, that's where all the information's been buried, is in general gardening books. I mean, why not start there? It was my thought, and then bring it back to cannabis.
With the Korean natural farming is it's actually like a 2,000-year-old rice farming technique. Because in China, they're just like, they just have super fertile land and rice everywhere. So a lot of it is rice vinegar based and rice based, sugar based, because they have sugar cane. You want to try to use the best sugar you can get too. If you go to Cash and Carry, they have brown rice vinegar by the gallon. Again, you can get a 4-pack there. That's what I normally do is I get a 4-pack because you have one that's going to be straight vinegar you're going to feed. One is going to be water-soluble calcium. One is going to be water-soluble cal mag, and one's going to be water-soluble cal phos. So, I mean, four gallons of vinegar is going to cost you like, what, $36? And it's going to be 4 gallons of fucking plant food you're going to use at 1 to 5 mils per gallon. So it's going to last you a while. They also have turbinado sugar, which is it's called Demerara Florida Crystals. Demerara used to be a country called Guyana, but they switched to Demerara. But they call it turbinado because literally they take the sugar cane and put it in a giant concrete mixer with a flame underneath it, pretty much. It's a turbine, and it spins it, and they just scrape it, put it in a bag. It's the most raw, unrefined sugar you can get, though. But it's the best for your microbes to eat. Because the other ones, the white sugar, is actually stripped of the molasses, then bleached, and pesticides and all kinds of other stuff are put into it. Brown sugar, they strip, bleach, then put the molasses back into it to make the color. This one is literally, they put it in a turbine, dry it out, put it in a bag. It's the best thing for your ferment, for sure. It's also the one that most candy makers use to make lollipops and shit.
So, are there? What are some of the strains that you're going to be popping in the next round? What is there? What's on the to get? What's hot?
Let's see.
In your opinion, what's hot?
Well, my rooms right now, room 1 is wedding cake and ice cream cake are in the same pot. Gelato is next to MD, and then GMO is next to Bear Creek Kush. GMO again is ChemD on Forum Cut. The wedding cake is Animal Mints times Strangle Kush. ice cream cake is wedding cake times gelato 33. I have gelato in there, and I have candy in there, and then I've got a full side of garlic breath, which I believe is like hog's breath on, I don't remember the other side of it, hog breath on something else. And then the next room is going to be mainly garlic breath and triangle kush and maybe some Donny burgers. And then my last room is going to be orange dreams, which is Calio on blue dream. And then some Donny burgers. I think it's all right in a second. Trying to move so I can actually like start doing some actual like pheno hunting for some animals. I want to go through my black plague line and find a good animal. That is really
I like to hear that instead of trying to spray them, make fems and shit, making fems or seeds that way. I like to hear people just breeding from a good male.
Well, with triangle, I will probably feminize it at some point, but it's very, very hard to feminize. That's why only like 2 or 3 people have done it. Like CSI Humboldt's been trying for a long time to feminize it. It doesn't put off very much like anything. Like you have to grow it really fucking good. Like it's a hard strain. It's very, very, very particular, very big. Like I've straight up taken like 100 cuts and gotten one. Again, I've given it to a lot of friends and nobody's given it back. But on its good day, it's like 7 for 20 on clothing. Like it's not fucking easy to work or grow. It's just not. It's not gonna throw 7 fingers. It's not.
But it's obviously that good, huh? I mean, for all
Dude,
the trouble, it's
let's put it this way. And then when it goes into flower, it has to be staked up to the tip of the bud week 3, or it will get heavy enough that it will break off, and it will literally fall off the plant on the ground. Like the whole plant will just fall the fuck apart. It's like so like you barely touch it, and the arms just like try to go. Like it's dude delicate as fuck. Let's put it this way. How I lost triangle. I was told not to put it outside. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to throw it outside for 2 weeks, clone it, bring it back in, try to get some more vigor back into it, right? I put it outside. I topped it. I pulled it apart, put a tomato cage over top of it, put it in a 20-gallon pot. Fucking bird came, landed on it, broke it, and fucking flew away with it.
That would suck.
I was like, what the fuck? Because I had all these 10-footers around it. No, this one bird landed on it right in the middle of the fucking bird cage, snapped it, and fucking flew up. Just one little footprint right in the middle of the fucking pot. One little free print.
Man, that would be a bummer there. I've got a lemon lava drops and a dominatrix. Both are like that. I mean, you bump them and that branch just wants to snap right off. And for me, that was like a gorilla. I thought that was like a gorilla glue trait right there. Because she has gorilla glue in her.
I think it's a kush trait. Because most kushes and like straight up seed kushes and Afghanis and that kind of shit, they're just very delicate at their joints. They like a lot of fucking silicone, a lot of magnesium.
So, what are some good water soluble?
What are some water soluble?
Silica. That's something I would like to add to my regimen, but in the forms that I can get it in, I have to sit and let it, acclimate in my water there for fucking an hour and shit. I just don't have the time in between mixings to let it sit for an hour, 2 hours to kind of really break down in the water there. Is there something I could be adding that is a little more ready to be uptaked, and something that I can mix in and not have to sit and wait for?
If you ferment bamboo or horsetail, bamboo's for veg, horsetail's for flour, you can use those at like a quarter strength, like a quarter of a milliliter per gallon, and that's like a lot. But yeah, just go find horsetail and ferment it, and bamboo and ferment it. And then those ones they have such low water content, you're going to make a fermented plant juice versus extract. Extracts, you're going to be adding just straight sugar and plant material, and the juice from that is actually going to be concentrated. If you make juice, how do you make juice? You take concentrate and add water to it. So you're going to take your plant material, chop it up, add your sugar to it, mix it really well, and then float it in water. And then once you do that, it's going to be ready to go. But whenever you float anything in water, they're going to be microbial high, nutritionally low. So you're going to get lots of microbes and lots of life, but it's not going to be exactly a lot of food for the plant. But since the silica and bamboo are so potent, you can make juices with those and then still feed those at a 1/4 milliliter per gallon, and the plant will be like, damn. But you can try to go up to a mill. But again, silica sources are super strong. Those ones are really good natural sources.
Good to know. Good to know.
Also, when you're building soil, you put a lot of different kind of rock dusts in your soil. So each rock dust is positively and negatively charged. You're trying to find your electrical current in your soil. That's what your EC is. That's what a lot of soil sensors and readers will actually measure. There's a certain point, I think it's at like 1.13 or 1.14 is where like the absolute maximum electrical current in your soil for your plants to uptake the nutrients at. But again, each mineral has a different nutritional content. Like zeolite is positively charged, azomite is positively charged, bentonite, glacial rock dust, what's the other one? Most of them are negatively charged, but there's only a couple that are positively charged. But most of those are very high in silica. So like gypsum's got iron and silica in it, but it also takes care of any kind of salts building up in your soil. So if you amend gypsum, it's also going to make your soil, instead of it feeling like dirt and like smelling like compost, eventually it's going to start feeling like flour, like literally like flour, like so soft, just falling it right apart because it's mainly going to be rock dusts. Because plants like more minerals and nutrients anyways. In nature, plants don't like spikes. They like compost that falls and slowly decays and then they leach from it. Like, that's why in synthetics, a lot of the plant feeds, like they want you to go right into flour. They go double the food of flour food and veg food right off the bat, and then you slowly taper off the veg food. Nature does the same thing. It's slowly going to go from bacterial dominance, and as soon as it starts hitting fall, everything's going to start fading, and everything's going to start going to fungal dominance. That's another reason why we only get mushrooms at certain times of the year.
Is seeing mushrooms in your soils a good thing? I've seen yellow mushrooms in my cocoa.
If you see mushrooms in your soil, it's showing you your soil's alive and healthy, and it's actually, they call it at harmony. So if you see soil in nature with mushrooms in it, dude, you can even snag those mushrooms or snag the soil it's in. That's telling you that soil is fungally dominated. But it's also the mushroom spores. If you just take the spores and put them in your beds, dude, as soon as you go into your flower state, into your fungal state, they're going to start blooming. So you're going to have mushrooms growing in your soil. So if you have like oysters or, portobellos or whatever you want, you put the spores in your totes and they'll spread, and you can actually just grow mushrooms in your soil. Throw some straw on top of it. They love straw. Those blood masses, mushrooms going too, apparently.
That's good to know. Good to know. I've had them show up in my cocoa once or twice, and I've always wondered if it was a good or a bad thing at that point.
And coconut for synthetics, probably no. But if you're running organics synthetic, it's not going to really hurt. It's not going to hurt anything. But most synthetics you want to keep pretty sterilized, in my opinion. Like I used to do the deep water poultry of fucking switch plants into different pots with big ass fucking roots and sterilize the pots and put them fresh medium in them and
Mike, I use a little bit. I'm not just salts. I am using a little bit of organic inputs there from time to time, the molasses and a little bit of fish emulsion from time to time. So I try to
you'll really like the fish amino acid versus fish emulsion. If you give that a try, like just go out and fish or find somebody that fishes and have them keep the heads and tails for you, just have throw some sugar on it, let it sit there and compose. Dude, it makes, again, since they're all microbially processed, there's no smell to it. But again, it's super, super high in amino acids. And you can make one for veg and one for flour. And in my opinion, when you start using fish amino acids, your glands on your plant go from being sticky to greasy. That's what you want. Like again, you want your hash to melt. Like mine, I can make this one drip. It's just a temple. But if I heat it up and just put it over the nail, it'll sit there and just bubble, 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 and then just drip. Like that's one thing that really sold me when I was doing synthetics and organics. Because I was like, well, I was into the dabbing scene real big back when everybody was back there blasting and all that shit. Like I was doing it safely, but I found out that it has petroleum distillants in it. It's got biotin in it, so you're not supposed to be doing it yourself. I still really like dabbing, so I wanted to figure out a way. I'm like, dude, there's got to be a way you can make this stuff dabbable. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start making bubble hash, and I'm just going to start focusing on making the fullest full melt bubble hash I can. I want to start trying to build my glands as greasy as I can. So I was doing synthetics versus organics. When I started running the synthetics and organics and bubble hash, and found out that the organics was like 9 strains out of 10 were just fucking melt. Same strain synthetically, it was like 2 out of 10. I was like, what the fuck? Glands were just drier for some reason. And I was like, okay, the organics, I was using a lot of fish products and a few different KNF inputs and a few this and that. And I was like, it's just made the glands form differently. I'm like, I'm using the same lights, same medium, they're just being fed differently. I'm like, huh, that's interesting to know. But yeah, I was just like, dude, ever since then, I was like, dude, I can make, like, I don't have to worry about being like, oh man, I want this whole fucking room for hash. And then you cut the room and you got dry glands. You know how pissed off you'd fucking be? I don't ever want to go down there.
Right. Oh, there's no, in my opinion, there's no denying that the organic side has the more flavorful flour there. I'm in total agreement there. And just for me, it's been more of a convenience thing. And I've told this story too. There's been two phases for me that's flipped me over to cocoa because I had tried to give a soil or a super soil mix a few runs, a few go atters, and both times there was a reason why I had to give it up. And well, the first time I was growing in like a super soil or a soil type mix because I was a newbie and I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing, and it just seemed right. You know what I mean? Just put the plant in there and water. Even now, it seems fucking right. Right. So I was growing, and I was forced to, like you said, you can grow anywhere if you adapt. And I was growing up in an attic space, and the more plants I took on, I started seeing the sag, and I was like, "Oh fuck, dirt's too heavy.
Oh,
Dirt's too heavy for up there, man. I gotta look for a fucking lighter medium," and it
yeah,
led me to
seriously.
cocoa. And then when I moved back up here, I started trying to get back down to the dirt because I got tired of throwing away fucking medium all the time, or cocoa that was mixed with at that time the cocoa I was using was mixed with perlite. It had a lot of perlite in it. And my yard, where I was dumping it around my yard, it was, when I moved up here, my yard was like a fucking beach, nothing but sand, classic fucking pine forest yard. And then I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. It was like painfully obvious. I thought I was doing like really good because I started chucking grass seed. I'd go out there at night, knock out my pots, and just sling grass seed like fucking crazy. And then immediately started watering, which worked great, man. That shit was taking off great. And then we hit a dry snap, and that fucking cocoa dried up like a motherfucker, and all you could see was dead grass and perlite. It was like, oh yeah, I wonder what that guy's been doing. Suddenly has a yard, and now that it's all dry, it's all perlite. Let's wonder what's going on there. So I was trying to switch over to a super soil type thing, and I took on more patience and got into like the hot batch and got into like a hot batch where like halfway through flower, everything started to fucking lock up and just, it was a bad run. And at that point, I was already behind. You know what I mean? I couldn't mix up and let it cook. So I was like, fuck, man, I'm behind the 8 ball already. I'm going to go back to what I know. And what I knew was cocoa and salts. So I've been there ever
Oh, yeah.
since. But
Oh, yeah.
I know, as you get older, you just, some things you know are right. You know what I mean? And soil, organics, and shit like that. Stop dumping shit out in the yard and start reusing, reamending. Just makes more sense. And sooner or later, I'm
Well,
gonna get there. I mean,
I mean, I was straight cocoa before I went full soil. The thing that I noticed when I was doing the full cocoa, unless I had everything on auto feed, which the auto feed wasn't always 100% perfect, and if there was a problem, it was so much fucking time just to correct it. But now having a family, I'm like, I don't like having to water twice a fucking day. Like, it actually gives me time to be with my family. But now I do the totes. Like, again, I've got a couple of runs where I was like, dude, it's kind of cold. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and just like let these ride, let them droop kind of each time, and let them do their thing. But like literally watering them one time a week, still pulling over a pound. And like, dude, that's fine. Not putting any effort into that at all. Just literally walking away, not doing. Because I was back when I was doing the consultations, I was having to go to their farm, come home, go to the next farm, come home, go to the next farm, come home, go to the next farm, come home. So I didn't have a lot of time to leaf feed all the time. Like I was like, this is on autoplay. I have to make this as simple as I fucking can because the wife is going to be taking care of all of this. Dude, she would still crush it. I'd be like, all right, have these dried out? Like, no. Like, cool. All right, I'll be back in there too. No. That was the point that I was just like, dude, this is dope because I'm not having to put any effort into this, no money into this, and still producing really good weight and still producing really good smoke. That's what it's all about.
I can definitely understand that. Even when you were talking about doing the counseling there, I was like, man, this guy doesn't sleep because, like you said, man, once you're, taking a customer and taking them by the hand and shopping with them and teaching them how to brew everything. Fuck, you're not home doing your own shit, man. You got that takes, and it sounded like you got a pretty big, a nice setup there to deal with. So I mean, to do both full time, that's a lot of running. That's a lot
That's
of
another
running.
reason why I'm getting ready. Like I said, I want that property with everything on it, but I'm going to have the depths on auto feed, so I cover them to start with, but they're going to auto feed themselves. I can get dosatrons to have all my regiments on the side, so I just auto feed themselves. I'll just get soil tested one time each run, get my amendments, re-amend it, plant, and pretty much the same next day. The outdoor will all be on auto feed. I'll just run all my nutrients from giant tanks. I'll feed once a week. My indoor will all be on auto feed. Like I'll just literally have to walk around and pay somebody to leave.
That'd be pretty sweet, man. That's one thing I don't know. Maybe I'm just not ready for scale because that's one thing that as a caregiver, I like it a lot of that time in this room. You know what I mean? I'm still at the point where hand watering and, you know, spending time in here isn't such a bad thing for me.
Yeah, when you do it to scale, this becomes a little bit tedious for sure. One thing that's really nice though is whenever you start doing things.
I can imagine the scale that you're working on could be much less similar to somebody like myself who does, trades, construction, or whatever, doing that all day and then wanting to come home and like put an addition on your house, man. It's got to be like by the time you get home, you're like, man, I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
1,000%. You know how fucking shitty it is to like drive for fucking like 15 hours and then you're having to. Dude, teaching all day is very, very exhausting because you're trying to make sure they absorb all the information that you're giving them because they're paying you. So you're like trying to make sure they get their money out of it. You're trying to make sure you're putting out the information that so they can uptake it and they can absorb it. If it's not, there's no reason to get fucking, especially if you're too scientific and they can't get it. You got to put it in relatable terms so they can understand it. But if you're doing that for 18 hours in a row, and then you're having to drive another 10 hours home, and then you have to come home immediately at midnight and treat and water and feed and thin, 3 rooms, and then you have to wake up at 10 and get on the road again, it gets a little much. Or again, like you're taking care of fucking plants all fucking week long. That's your job. And then you drive 10 hours a week just to go home and fucking do your garden. But again, that's another reason why I garden the way I do, so I don't have to be here, though. That's the nicest thing about it. I don't have to be here. That's why when I do it all to scale, it's all going to be on auto system. It's all going to be soil. That way, all I have to do is walk through it with a rototiller and fucking amend it, or just top amend it, and then fucking plant and re-go. Just pay somebody, hey, come in here and plant all these, I'll give you $100. Hey, if you come over here and plant all these, I'll give you $100. Hey, if you come in here and leave for me for the day, I'll give you $100. Cool. Come in there, have like 4 waves of people come in, wipe it all out, and then just replant it. Easy peasy. Then the indoor will be my little workshop.
Is it even, have you thought about, like, as you say, like, right as I ask it, you say workshop. Have you thought about maybe a point to where you're out doing your consultations, you just kind of go there once and take some notes, and then they come to your workshop and learn how to make the inputs and stuff, the nutrients?
Honestly, I think it helps people better when I come to their place because they're more comfortable. They can have everything they need there. They're going to be doing it again. So like us going and getting all the getting all the stuff that we need for it, they know where to get it and they know how much they need because we're making it, so they're going to just have to repeat it. And then I can actually walk through their farm and help them. Honestly, I'm trying to keep my farm as personal as I possibly can. I'm not trying to even have very many people. Period. I don't want partners. I don't want friends out there. I don't want. It's mine. I'm going to do it all for me. I'm not getting ripped off by anybody. If I fuck it up, it's me. It's mine. Tired of people just trying to rip. Dude, again, about a $500,000 short. I could do a whole lot of things with $500,000. I'd already bought a house.
Oh, I can see it. I not in the cannabis field, but I've had a few partners in a few other businesses, construction businesses and shit. I can only imagine it's got to be like 10 times worse trying to take on a partner in the cannabis business than it would be a normal business.
It's either they turn out to be junkies, they backstab you because of what you have, or they go behind your back to your investor and backstab you that way. Like, they always just want your job. There's nothing around it. They're just, again, I was the absolute best boss. Let you do whatever the fuck you want. Let you work whatever time you want. When it started getting over 100 degrees, it's like, hey, you guys want to show up at midnight and work till 6? Yeah, let's do that. We'd love that. Well, we can go out and go do whatever the fuck we want, come back and work during the night. That'd be so much cool. Did that, started bitching about it. I'm like, dude, you guys are not farmers, you're not growers in the shows, unfortunately. Like, just not enough experience and just real young kids that obviously never had a hard job. I'm like, dude, I'm working consistently. Like, why is this hard? You're just pulling leaves. How's it hard?
Yeah. So, yeah, I can't help but wonder about that too. Is the market, are you seeing that like an influx of untalented people or non-growers trying to enter the market and almost like spoil the market for others that are like?
Dude, I think if you're trying to get into it, like, people have to remember it's a farm job. It's not a weed growing job. It's not a weed smoking job. It's not a, hey, I'm going to pull you aside and teach you everything about every little thing job. You're a worker on a farm. That's what it comes to, because it's a farm. Like, you'd be real lucky if, like, I was trying to teach my guys as much as they possibly could as we were going along. But there was certain guys, that thought they knew everything that didn't want to hear me. So I just didn't put in the effort to teach them anything. And guess what? Guys that didn't know anything knew more than them by half the season. They were like, I was already giving them control of certain things. But it's like, dude, when I give you a stopwatch and go, every plant needs 30 seconds, and then I look up and you're on your phone and the stopwatch isn't even near you, okay, well, I guess we'll see how this goes down. Oh, well, I'm done. Okay, well, where are you? Oh, well, I'm on this part over here. Well, how many teas did it take you to get this patch done? Oh, it took me 6. It's only supposed to take you 4. So you just spent an extra 1,000 gallons of food because you didn't want to use a stopwatch. You just spent 2 extra days of me having to pay you for watering, and you overwatered everything. Why didn't you just do what I told you? Just use the stopwatch, dude. Like I just told you what to do. It's easy.
Oh,
Not rocket science. Dude, go over and start cropping and pinching and doing all this stuff to one plant. Why are you doing that to one plant in the row? So now if you do that to one plant, you got to do that to the other 2,499, dog. Like, and now we have to pay people to do it. Like, you can't experiment with big scale. Like, it's just this. If you're doing something, so you're paying somebody to do it, it's got to be a reason. You can experiment on your own personal garden.
I agree with the stopwatch thing too, because as somebody that's trying to utilize like a shortcut like that, you know, I'd still hand water, and sometimes I get lazy, and sometimes I find different ways for shortcuts. And one of the ways I found a shortcut was like, instead of like mixing up nutrients and spilling, you know, because I'm cheap too, and if I can save a few bucks in buying gallons, then I'll buy quarts of nutrients. You know, it's cheaper. But sometimes gallons are a little harder to work with. And you know, you splash, you know, sometimes when you're measuring, you splash some out and you're actually wasting some at that point. I was like, fuck, man. I'm trying to measure, you know, 5 mils here, and it's like I'm wasting 5 trying to get 5. So trick I learned there was like, because I have a larger plant count, I actually have 72 plant count, and I decided, fuck, I'm just gonna stop mixing 5 gallons at a time. I'm gonna start mixing fucking 15, 20, and you know, measure bigger amounts. And from there, right off the bat, I stopped spilling as much, or spilling some, because I was actually pouring one time in a bigger blop than trying to, you know, get that 5 mils. So I started saving there, and then I was like, at that point,
I like to just buy a big old bottle and take like a little tiny bottle and just keep filling that little bottle.
That's another good tip too. I've done that on a few lines too. Another tip. I was. Oh no, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say another good one is those blunt mats. They're gravity fed, so you get like a 20-gallon drum and just stick the probe in your soil, and then it just sucks it out of the 20-gallon tub as it needs it.
It's a pretty good system there. You just keep it aerated. The water.
No, you don't even need to aerate it. Like most of the time, it's just for straight water. But yeah, if you're doing nutrients, you can put them through that. But mostly with the blunt mat, the nice thing is you just put the water reservoir on the side, and then when you want to feed, you just either turn them off or like unplug them, or just literally go in there and just like feed, and just keep having your water do its thing. It just senses the moisture content.
But so when I started doing the bigger tubs like that, I was measuring, you know, I was actually counting cups, you know what I mean? I knew how much the plant was taking or how much I wanted to give it. And I was like, okay, 4 cups, or, you know, it was actually worked out to be a gallon. So again, I started going, well, fuck, man, this sucks. I got to find a better way. So I found a transfer pump, a battery operated transfer pump. And that worked great. Like you said, though, the only difference was, I had to have that stopwatch, because as much as I thought I could fucking count fucking to 30 every fucking time, yeah, you get brain farts and you're like, oh, what, you know, there's seconds lost there every time. And I found I couldn't as much as I tried, I couldn't keep it, you know. And I tried. I was one of them guys too. I was like, that's stupid. I don't need a stopwatch. I can count at the same rate every time. And then I found out I can't count at the same rate every fucking time. You know, like I said, if something catches your eye, you know, draws your attention for a brief second, and you get off. You fucking get off. So I ended up having to go to a stopwatch. That's no word of lie. I did it by a stopwatch just for that because I wanted some consistency and I was fucking things up just thinking I could count the same every time. So I can appreciate the stopwatch theory there for sure. And on
That's
a
another reason
larger
why I really like
scale,
those.
I never even thought about it, even you know, how bad it could be until you put it on a larger scale there. And, you know,
Oh
1,600
yeah.
gallons wasted in a. That fucking adds up, man, real quick,
Oh
man.
yeah.
That's a
Thank God he's not
loss
buying.
per
Thank
day.
God you weren't brewing fucking expensive teas because some of that fucking like vermicompost, some of that shit goes for like $130 a bag, and one bag does one fucking tea. So if we did the whole orchard with that, dude, it would cost like $600 or $700 if he did teas like that. It's like, dude, you just wasted a lot of that shit. Like, why? But no, like, yeah, on scale, like it's literally about like your emitters, and yeah, there's a lot of different factors for scale for sure. Scale's entertaining, but it's also a headache because the people. Like plants are plants. I can grow weed all fucking day long. It's the people. So I said I'm just gonna do it all myself because again, it's so much easier. I'll be like, oh, I know, like if anybody's looking for good super soil in the San Diego area, look up Leaky Gardens. They've got some really fucking fire, like outdoor, indoor, whatever you want. They can get you like really good prices on yards really cheaply, and they can deliver it. So look up a Leaky Gardens. But yeah, we ran some of their stuff for their outdoor last year, and it's really good. It's water only, a little bit of calcium. That's all you need. Like it's nice, good soil, lots of minerals in it. But yeah, doing shit to scale, there's a lot of different factors. Like, dude, just getting water and maintaining your water, where you're getting your water from, and maintaining pumps and cleaning brewers all the fucking time. Dude, and certain plants transition way faster than others. You gotta watch for pests on that many fucking plants too. But it's pretty stoked when fucking pests come clean. And the best thing about the modern natural farming stuff is all the stuff is California standard approved. So it all like it's 100% for California usage for rec.
That's got to be a whole new ball game right there. Just what you got to do on that level, things you have.
Well, again, the nice thing is I was already like really knowing what I was putting in my stuff, and I've already seen lab results from it. So just converting it to scale was just a matter of rounding up what I needed. So I mean, like I made I think I made all over flower food for that much for that many plants. I think I spent less than like $400.
That ain't shit.
Not shit.
It seemed like you'd make.
And I produced a $3 million crop.
Yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say. It seems like you'd made somebody a fucking happy ass fucking boss. You know what I mean? It seems like.
Yeah, you think. Until I went to go get fucking paid.
And that's the thing I hear across the board, even here in Michigan. That right there, getting fucked over after that first grow, having them set up, and you know, just not getting things in writing, and man, just it seems like a headache to make that next step. And from what I've heard,
you want to
it's like
you want to have shit on fucking paper from the day you start. If you don't have shit on paper, you don't fucking. But again, don't work for anybody. You're gonna get treated bad because you're farm labor unless you're running the show and the dudes. You're not getting hired to grow the way you want to grow. You're getting hired to grow the way they want to grow. Like you don't have as much opinion as you think. I've grown for a lot of fucking people, and they all end up wanting to do something. Dude, So I was doing a fucking 99 plant light dep with one of my buddies, and he was like, "Oh, this chick's got a place that we could do this, and you should teach her stuff like that." So we were doing this 99 plant dep. We had 398 Bubba cushions. You know Bubba, super indica. It's stout as fuck, but it flowers early as shit. It's done like week 6, 7, like done. So I was like, okay, we've got these ones that are like a foot and a half, 2 feet tall. Let's go ahead and throw them out of the light dep, and we'll let them veg for another like 3 weeks. Then we'll throw them back in the depths, so they'll finish at 9 weeks with everything else. They decided to go get a bag seed from one of their friends that already reverted. Guess what? They threw fucking nanners and pollinated everything. It's like, dude, why did you do that? Oh, well, we had room for it. You took out those 3 bubbas. Yeah, because they're going right back in. I already showed you. Like, dude, now we gotta have to cut everything week 6, or we're gonna have fucking full-blown seeds. Like, it hit everything week 2. I'm like, dude, week 6 we're gonna have full-blown seeds, so we're gonna have to pull everything. So week 5 rolls around, and we have little tiny fucking buds, and I'm like, all right, let's start fucking pulling this. And they're like, oh, we just dropped this shit because of you. We start going through it, and one of the trimmers was like, holy shit, you see a lot of these fucking seed pods fucking showing up, dude. Holy shit, like thank God we pulled this, or there'd have been seeds fucking everywhere. And he's fucking pulling, he's like, well, they're not like there's a couple of pops, but it's not like crazy. Like next week they'd have been bad. Like, oh yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's got to be.
Anybody got any more questions?
See shit like that. Oh man, that seemed like that'd be devastating. A seeded crop on that scale. What do you do with it? Just make extract out of it at that point and hope for the best?
People claiming they can clean whatever, anything off of fucking extract. People buy it fucking cheap. People buy it for biomass too. Track and trace is a pain in the ass. Track and trace, every plant has to have a tag. Every plant has to be entered into the system. When it goes in the flower, they all have to be entered into the flowering system, and all the barcodes have to be scanned. They all have to be cut down with the tag. They all have to be hung with the tag. They all have to be dried with the tag, trimmed with the tag, put in the bag when it's done, and then the distributor picks it up and scans it in his system. It's a pain in the ass.
We're not even close to there yet, but we're getting there.
It's like an 8-hour fucking class. Like you have to do a bunch of shit on the computer. Like you have to be like plant 1 through 50 in the veg group. All right, plant 51 through 100 in the veg group. And then you're like, oh, these are all Superman. These are all fucking XJ13s. These are all Billy Beans. These are all Purple Punch. Fucking hate Purple Punch.
Yeah,
Anybody got more questions?
I haven't seen one come up quite yet. Not a serious one, guys. Jeez. I don't think.
It's like a 4-hour one. Well, told you.
Oh, they're funny. Occasionally they'll slide in the nice funny question there, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Tonight I don't see it working. What is the name of the soil in San Diego? Smiley's garden.
A leaky garden soil. They have a couple of different good mixes. But yeah, you're looking for a leaky garden.
Damn you guys. Everybody wants to know, are you a boxer or priest, man?
Hey.
Fuckers, I asked it. I hope you're happy, damn it. Fucking stoners. I've asked that question. Believe it or not, I've asked that question a few times during a few like very serious interviews. Like Breeder Steve, I snuck that in on Breeder Steve, which I didn't expect that, but it was funny as shit.
Like,
you know who Breeder Steve is?
I wear an old diaper.
That's funny.
You know what 80-year-old ass tastes like?
No, I'm
Depends.
gonna ask. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna amuse that one. That's funny. That's funny.
I got a
So,
stoner joke for you guys.
take it.
So these three guys find a genie lamp, right? So they rub it. Genie comes out. Genie goes, "All right, you guys know the deal. You guys each get one wish, but we had to start making some kind of stipulation because people are making some fucking retarded ass fucking wishes and making the world like fucked up permanently. So we came up with a system to prove you guys are mature enough to actually handle your wish. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put you in a room by yourself. You have to do your favorite thing all day, every day for a full year. If you can go through a full year without complaining when we come get you, then that proves you're man enough to like accept the mortality of your choices, and then you get your wish. Cool. First guy goes, well, I like the ladies, so give me 365 ladies. I'll do one a day. Cool. Put him in the room. Second guy goes, dude, give me all the top shelf liquor you got. Party on, dude. Put him in the room. Third guy goes, dude, I'm a stoner, dude. Give me all the top shelf ash you got and all the weed you got, dude. Fucking let's go. Cool. Genie comes back a year later. Goes the first guy. First guy's clawing his way out. Like, dude, you okay? He goes, dude, ever since you shut the door, these chicks won't shut up. It's like, I don't have any time to myself. I have no thoughts to myself. My dick is sore as shit. I'm pretty sure I knocked like 10 of them up. Like, paying child support out the ass. It's like, I don't even like sex anymore. It's like, I'm not gay, but I don't even fucking care about that shit anymore. It's like, that was the worst year of my life. He's like, holy shit, just get me out of here. Well, you complain, you don't get your wish. Like, I don't give a fuck. Just get me out of here. So he goes, the second guy. He goes, well, guy just comes out, just wobbling, just looking white, pale as shit. Dude, what's the matter with you? He goes, dude, everything I taste tastes like liquor. Like, I can't drink water. I can't drink anything. Everything tastes like liquor, dude. I'm pretty sure I need a liver transplant. I'm fucking gonna die, dude. So they go, all right, well, you complain, you don't get your wish, dude. That's fine. I just need to go to the hospital. They go to the third guy. Third guy's in the corner, rocking back and forth, crying. They're like, oh my god, dude, are you okay? Has anybody got a lighter? Second room, all top shelf. Take a lighter.
That's funny. That's funny. It's a bummer that you can see the chat there because they did like the depends joke. They fucking that was funny as shit too. You missing the chat a little bit. Bummer that you weren't
Is
able
it
to bring them
on?
up.
Is it actually gonna be on the comments on YouTube or?
Yeah, if you go back and watch it, they'll be able. I leave that shit up.
Oh, there you
You'll
go.
be able to see
Yeah,
all the comments.
hopefully, I'll throw a good handful of followers your way. Last podcast I was on was a really good one. I think I was like 10,000 plus views or something like that.
Damn. That's
Well, even the
good
Korean
to
natural farming on the trichome chaser was like 7,000 or something like that. That was like a 6-hour show.
Yeah, with that being said, that I would like to ask you to come back. I mean, more on like an organics type episode with Smiley. I mean,
Sure, yeah.
because Smiley,
You know,
Smiley is definitely the more organic side of things of this channel anyway. He's actually he'll be on next week with somebody you probably know, Aqua Kingdom Aquaponics or Aquaponics Kingdom, Lath Morris, which is like an aquaponics farmer. But
aquaponics is pretty dope.
yeah, he's finally doing at least once a month. I'm trying to get him to do it at least twice. The organics takeover on the channel. So at least once a month they do an organic special. I'm trying to get him to do it more often, but always looking for great guests, and obviously we've got one here in front of me. So we'll
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'd be definitely down to come back. Always just trying to spread the information.
You seem to be a wealth of it for sure. I know I'm barely scratching the surface here. That's why I know that to put out a good invitation there, because I can see there's like I'm asking the minimum questions here, You know?
Again, like I said, we can go into detail about a lot of shit, and it'll be a long, long show.
That's good. That's good because I like them ones because I actually get to sit back like this Wednesday. Yeah, I get to sit back and take notes. You know what I mean? You know, and like in this instance, being a salt farmer, there's only so many places I can take it to know the right questions to ask. It takes a really another organic farmer or organic angle to know to ask the proper questions to get good answers. You know what I'm saying? And that's where
The dope
smiling
thing
kind
about
of falls in.
the dope thing about your style, you said you already used some organic inputs. KNF would rock. You'd just be able to switch that right in. But the first time you use like lacto or MIM or any of that stuff, you're gonna be like, holy shit, plants will love this. Like actually, that's how I converted a lot of my friends from being salt farmers. I started bringing them little things, and they were like, holy shit, dude, plants fucking love this. Actually, speaking of that, look at this. Straight up.
Oh, yeah, she's praying. Right. She's not. Wait, what kind of light is she under right there? I mean, she doesn't look like she's in like a bright light.
No, it's only under a 315, and it's actually like 6 or 7 feet away. Again, they just like the food. They like the life. They love the life. They love the hormones. Dude, man, like the whole garden's actually like that, and it's actually sitting in the dark. But even running synthetics, I've seen certain guys just like implement certain little touches, and they go, "Holy fuck, this works great!" And they go, "Oh, I want to dig into this more," and they just start going. You know, that's the best thing about it is being a salt feeder. If you download my bio and just read through it and just give it a try, like even with what you're doing now, like you're gonna be like, "Oh wow, this like works pretty well the same." Like plants are responding like fucking pretty well the same. This is just a different feed. But you're just like, oh, I just made this for nothing.
I like that. I'm not afraid to say I'm a cheap fucker. And I like the way you're talking already.
I mean, again, like $400 to produce 3 million, and then $140 a year to produce fucking like 40 to 80 pounds. Like that's pretty fucking cheap. Like I don't know anybody else with nutrients that are that cheap. I should go buy some grow more, I guess.
Even at fucking salts, I'm paying next to shit for my salts, and it ain't that cheap.
I mean, shit, just a bag of Epsom salts, and you can make water-soluble calcium. That's your hydro medium. That's your like pretty much your food, right? So for a coconut medium, it's pretty much like water-soluble calcium, water-soluble CalMag, and like a soybean meal ferment. And like you've got like a 1600 and then cal and mag. That's pretty much all you need for hydro for the first little while. You add just a little tiny bit of actual dirt into it though. Again, it's just going to make it so you're not going to have to feed immediately. It's just going to make them so like, oh, we've got a little bit of food. We're not going to have to feed them on the day you transplant, or maybe like 2 waterings. You won't have to feed them. They'll just naturally do their thing and eat the mycos in there and just try to find the food that's barely in there, but they'll be like, oh, hey, cool. And by the time that comes along where you're like, all right, it's time to give you some food, boom, ready for the next home. Do the same thing. It was like, oh, wow, I didn't have to fucking really like feed these at all. Like, wow, cool. That's the nicest part. When you're like, oh, this is getting cheaper and cheaper.
So what are some teas that what are some teas that you can suggest that will just make that root zone just pop? I'm a big opponent of that root zone, man.
I really like
Azos.
Azos.
Keep it down below.
Like, do you use Azos Mycos? Like, if you're not transplanting Mycos and then using Azos, just nitrogen fixing bacteria pretty much.
This is what it usually looks like. It's just, like I said, I was fucking transplant, but this is the usual day around here. This fucking tent city up in here.
Hey, at least they're easy to move, man. Easy to move, easy to shut down. I just was like, oh, I got a bunch of. Actually, it's funny because I built my light depth with this wood that I made my rooms out of. I actually took all that wood, scrapped it, sanitized it, and reused it all, and built my rooms with it. Because again, when I first started at this place, we had to put every single penny into getting this place because I was going to get a job in San Diego running a 55,000 square foot facility. And I had a 14-page contract in hand, and then the housing contract fell through 6 days before we were going to move. I already had a moving truck, plane tickets for people to help us unload. Yeah, all that shit. And then the housing fell through. So we had to get a house, and the house we were at, they were going to like put the house on the market to sell. So we had to like take all of our money to get a house immediately. So I didn't have fucking nothing. So I literally was like, all right, well, I've got a bag of fucking wheat bran and some fucking gypsum. Let's see what I can do. And ran one light and made like 2 pounds off that one light, and then just started building from there.
Chibo Man's wanting to know, how much dirt do you add to cocoa to provide the food?
I like to do, it all depends on how airy your soil is. If your soil is already pretty light, like 50-50. If it's a little thicker, do like 75-25.
Yeah, actually, the fucking cocoa I run's like the super fucking chunky cocoa. I mean, this shit's like wood chips.
Nice. Well, chunkier the better. Like once you start recycling coconut, it starts breaking down. So you start getting less fibrous shit. It turns into muck. Nice.
Yeah, that's why
yeah,
I like it so. That's why I like it so chunky, is because the next round I can mix it with a new batch and give it somewhat of a little bit of a grit to it. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So I get like I can probably run that same cocoa probably about 3 times before I actually don't like it when it gets like
Super fine.
when most people would buy it. That's when I'm like.
You know, and actually what that's actually good for, try putting that in some solo cups and try cloning with it. Works great.
Yeah.
Because straight up, if you do a solo cup, dude, that can go into a 5-gallon pot. Like if that's fully rooted, and you're throwing the stem like that far down it, so you have that much space to root. You know, and it's like most of the time the like plant's gonna be about yay big. So it's actually, you throw it in a dome like you normally would, but you throw like 12 of these per flat. Dude, they root in like 5 to 7 days, and then they're ready to go in their final homes.
It's again, it seems like a huge transfer for me from the solo to a 5-gal like that, man. And especially
dude, I'll go from a solo to my
That'd be
27s.
Do you put it in like a fucking wet dirt and just let it go, or moist soil and just let it go for a few days, or vice
So the
versa,
biggest
dry soil?
The biggest thing with most things with like a solo cup size is if you put them in dirt or whatever, you got to remember that most of the time your coconut's pretty compact and your roots are pretty compact, and that's still going to act as a single cup. So you want to water it in like you normally would, but if you want to keep a really good eye on it for the first like 2 to 3 days. If it starts drooping, that means the solo cup itself is still acting as a single plant, and the roots aren't trying to drink the water from the outer pot. So you need to actually water the solo cup by itself. Like just put a little bit of water down the stalk just to try to help it push the roots into the actual pot. Or you can just fluff the bottom of your cup real quick, just a little tiny bit, and then stick them in there. Like my room next to me, I transplanted them from a 1-gallon pot, and they didn't miss a beat. They're already growing, and they've only been in there for like a day and a half, 2 days. Like they're already throwing off new arms.
Nice. For when I'm in the cocoa, I actually try to. When I make sure the pot that I'm transferring is like kind of wet, and then I like to go into the drier medium. And then let it sit like that for a day, and then kind of water the outside ring, to try to make them search for that water.
Oh, there you go.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually a few times I've taken, because again, when I transplant, I water them really good, and I let them dry out their first time. Sometimes that takes 2 to 3 weeks. So literally, I don't touch them at all for like 3 fucking weeks, and then by that time they're ready for flower. So I just literally plant them, let them sit there, and then fucking start feeding them flower food. Don't have to do shit. And they normally get like pretty decent size. Like they normally get like anywhere between 4 to 7 feet.
So can you sounds like you pretty much can dispel the myth that the weight can't be in the dirt. You know, that's another thing I've heard as an argument of people wanting to revert back to the dirt. It's a slower system with a little bit less yield but more quality. Would you say that?
It all depends. I just think soil's a bit slower. Like if you normally are used to synthetics being an 8-week strain all the time, you might take it 9 and you might give it 1 extra week of veg, and then it'll be the same weight, but you'll have better quality. But you're gonna also have to do a lot less work. You're not gonna have to water so much. You're not gonna have to feed so much, so it costs you less, and it also costs you less labor. You can also get more. In my opinion, I like to get a lot of fucking. I don't like to just have like one room. That's just super boring to me. I like to get multiple projects going on, so that way I feel like I have something I need to do. So I'm always trying to get as much going as I possibly can. But then again, I'm always doing this plus big other scale shit. So it's like, you know, as much as I can fucking handle at most times. But this system's just easy. It's very forgiving. It's an easy way to push these guys too. It's really fucking easy to train and pretty good fucking yields. Like even just off these 315s, I think the last 6x12 I did with these guys, they were like right at 1.75 pounds of light on 315 watts.
315. That's LED or
ceramic metal halide. No, it's single-ended ceramic metal halides. Sun systems. This guy.
I was gonna ask you how you like them vertical bulbs.
I got 4 of those in this room.
I've seen them pictures be ran a lot. I mean, obviously you like them. I mean, you say they're a little bit bright. I said I see them pictures like you're running there quite a bit. I've always wondered how they worked. You know,
they're just pretty much white light, low power. But plants like, for instance, GMO GMO either likes a fucking ton of light or a little tiny bit of light. That's one plant that really likes to sit in the corner and does really well in the corner. But under these 315s, it really makes them stack pretty well. Like it's really good quality because it's a white light. So it actually helps produce a little bit more glands than a high pressure sodium. It's like for potency wise, it's like yellow for yield, white for middle ground, and then purple for just like mostly quality versus weight. But again, like it all depends on color spectrum.
Well, what I'm kind of wondering too is with the bulb hung vertical like that, do you think it's a little bit brighter? You get a little bit more out of the bulb like that?
No, I think the double-ended do. This has a dim spot right at the tip. The double-endeds have consistent power all the way through. But again, I got these ones cheap too. I got these ones I think for like $125 each. So I mean, I snagged 4 of them, and I've already gotten my money way out of them.
$1.25, I would think so. So with anything in your current system, without like moving anything, you know what I'm saying? Actually, moving and setting up a whole new grow. What would you change in your system right now? What would be the one thing if you were to change anything in your current system? What would it be?
Not be at this house. I want to move. I hate this fucking town. That's about it. Like, well, I want rolling benches. I want 4x4 beds that are permanent. These are actually like, they're big enough that they hold living soil, but they're small enough that you can pick them up if you need to. That's the nice thing about them. But because like if you do like 55-gallon in here, it's just too much. You can't pick it up. So once I get settled permanent, I want rolling trays of 4x4s. that I can just slide around the room and throw trellising on.
Hell yeah. I mean, them fucking toads that you got there all full of wet soil gotta be a backbreaker.
I've actually figured out a really good way to move those. You take a dolly and a yo-yo, and you just clip it around the front of it and give a little tilt, and they move pretty easy.
That's a back saver right there, that's for sure.
But you just set the totes up one time, and that's it, thankfully. You don't have to add any soil, and they're really easy to turn if you need to turn them, like with a shovel.
How much was soil was that you just mixed up on that? How much soil was that you just mixed up from that last one?
Let me see. The last run was 627 gallons, and then this one's going to be, I think, 8, and then the next room's going to be 8. So 8 times 27, 8 times 6.
That's a lot. You buying it by the truckloads, or are you pulling in bags over there, dude?
No, what it ends up being really is like I used to buy soil to put clones in, and then when the clones get up potted, they just turn into more soil, and then when that one's done, it gets amended and then reused. So eventually, it just starts stacking up. So I've had all this soil for a long time. I don't really need to buy very much more. I just buy ones for like little ones, and sometimes for 1 gallon if I need it, if I don't have soil prepped. But I most of the time have soil prepped because, again, I've got like, see, 22 totes here of just soil. So 22 times 27, a couple yards.
I'm trying to think I know you get tired, brother. I know you got a fucking full day tomorrow.
Oh, I got a fucking water. I got a water build. I got to turn soil tonight too. Oh, it's not gonna be fun.
Well, I appreciate your time, brother, but you could have cut off a while ago. I mean, at some point,
don't matter to me. Again, I've got all the time in the world for people who want to learn and hear it. I don't have any time for people that don't want to hear it. It's like talking to a wall. What's the point?
Definitely want to hear it. I see you getting tired there, friend, and I know that you got tons of work to do. That's all I was saying there. I know.
Yeah, what time is it? 12:30. Yeah, you normally go to bed at like 7 or 8, so I got a long ways to go. Nice. Hopefully I'll get this room completely done, and I'll get some plants in here tonight, though. That's the goal. I got all the totes, got all the amendments in them. Just got to wet them, turn them all, put the lids on them, and then move the veg room in here. And then the veg room's going to get redone, and then the room next to that is going to get finished. And then all that soil needs to be amended and turned, and Then I need to up-pot the clones, take some cuts, treat. Sounds atomizer. Like buy an atomizer. That will save your fucking life. If you are a new grower and you spray and do IPM weekly, go to walmart.com and buy a Hudson atomizer. They're $156. It will save you so much fucking time. Like his entire room here, you can spray in 10 minutes. Entire fucking room, 10 minutes, atomizer. 2 gallons worth of spray, sprays like 15 fucking feet, hits the top and bottom of everything, like 15 feet away. You can spray whole rooms in like 10 minutes. It's so worth it versus a backpack sprayer, little hand sprayer. Go get it. It's so worth your time and money. Like if you're going to get one thing, make sure you get a really good fucking light, really good light. But again, just go get a double. If you're just trying to do it, don't get an old light. Dude, we can actually have a fucking another 2-hour discussion just on lighting. Why not to use certain ones and why to use certain ones, because just because certain ones will steal power and not put it out, certain things will diminish as they get older, and certain things get dirty and take your light too. So like we could have a whole nother fucking discussion just on lighting and why double-ended Gavitas, Phillips, Nanolux, all those, that's like where you want to be, because the little teeny tiny hood, they're $35 to replace. The bulb, $100. But again, the bulbs you replace once every 2 years, only sucks 5% of your light. But there's big difference. If you're gonna do it, do it. Buy a double-ended 1,000-watt light Get it off Craigslist. You can get them used. You don't need a new one. Don't buy a new one. Get used ones. Used ones are just as good. Again, the life on them is infinite. They will always draw the same amount of power as they pull out. The bulbs are just fine. You don't have to get new bulbs if you buy one off Craigslist, unless it's just old as fucking dirty. Which even they're pretty heavy duty. They can handle it.
I gotta give you a hug and kiss.
Give me a hug and kiss. Mwah. Go. Go.
Dad, there's so many.
Don't be touching my dirt. But yeah, buy a good light. Buy a good light and buy an atomizer. Saves so much time. So much time. Again, anybody needs help, hit me on Instagram, The World's Last Hope. Always down to talk, always down to help anybody that needs it. Might not see your thing right away, but I pretty will answer everything that comes my way. So yeah, I'm definitely down to come back whenever you want me. Let me know.
So, how did you end up on the World's Last Hope for an IG name there?
Well, back in the Xbox 360 days, I was a shot. So it went to the World's One Shot, and then I turned it to the World's Last Hope. And I thought it was pretty fitting.
Well, I honestly think that I honestly thought it was more of directly related to the organics. I really thought that's what it had to do with, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Fits right along.
If you kind of think about it, organics and being better stewards of the land may just be the world's last hope. At the rate we're going, we're kind of pretty shitty with the way we treat things. You know what I mean?
Definitely. But this style allows anybody to do that. Again, if you eat food, you can do this. And it's not just for cannabis. It's for any of your vegetable gardens. It makes them sweeter, more nutritious, helps with the yield. They do great.
Well, I think that's when it comes down to just that alone, I think that's what's a matter with a lot of people today is as far as general health is, the food that we're eating is just such shit,
I learned that the hard way. You are what you eat. I have a synthetic smoking. If I borrow somebody's weed and it's synthetic, I just all of a sudden just won't start feeling all that good. Like if it's my consistent diet, especially with dabs. But dude, if it's organic, I can get it from my buddies that do KNF now or DEM certified. And dude, I know for a fact their medicine's clean. Again, it's not even the grower. Sometimes it's the company because they're like, there wasn't a lot of companies out that are cannabis for cannabis. They're for fruit and vegetables. They're for tomatoes mainly. Like Botanicare is made for tomatoes. Like it's not for cannabis. So it's stuff your stomach ingests versus your lungs. Like your lungs, if it's a smoky day, you inhale it, you ingest it. Like that's it. Like your stomach has to help break it down. Your lungs absorb everything. So, unfortunately, if they're using a product that's not good for your health to absorb in your lungs, but you can eat it, because again, like Avid, for instance, they say it's a 6 months residual to touch. So if you spray, you can't touch anything for 6 months. It takes a year to eat it. They don't have anything for smoking. So if somebody sprays it, dude, you're really not even supposed to touch their clones for a year. How are you going to guard with that?
Got lost reading chat there, to be honest with you.
Any last questions before I bounce out?
Well, the soundbite, I got to get the soundbite from you. And then I'd like to tell you that sounds like you're up. This is your schedule, eh?
Yeah.
Probably pretty much. Me too.
You got to do all the gardening at night. It's 110 degrees during the day, so you try to sleep during the day. And now we got school starting, so it's going to be an interesting schedule.
I do it for different reasons, but yeah, that's my schedule too, man. I hammer down to about 6 or 7, then I'm back up at right around 10 to fucking shut things off and open things up. And fucking, maybe.
Tell you what, pulling tarp and closing rooms is a whole lot easier after kids. Tell you what. You're like, oh, I'm already on the fucking schedule. It's cool. Like when you did before you had it, you're like, okay, I got to make sure I wake up. Now you're like, oh, dude, no, anything, get me awake real quick. It's fine.
So a couple things I want to tell you before you go is one, I need the sound bite, and two is these numbers, the Zoom numbers, are always the same. So the show works like
Okay.
this. This is how the show works. You have to come on and do an episode before you get the. I open it up to like some nights there's a rabbit hole where like say when you bounce out tonight, I'll probably go till 4:20. I'll probably talk about the grow off a little bit or grow along. God, I don't know why I keep saying grow off. I don't like that term, the grow along.
Yeah, it's weird.
But then that's the rabbit hole. Some nights, they're longer than others, and sometimes it's a panel show. So either apply. If it's a panel show and you have some, you happen to be watching or whatever, and you're like, fuck, man, these guys are fucking up, or I can add something to this conversation. Feel free, man. You got the numbers. Jump in and fucking drop some knowledge on us, or if you just want to hang out, and be part of the panel, feel free. Numbers are
Yeah,
always the same.
I'm honestly down for the panel, but I'll honestly just be around if you like hit me up or ask me, because I'm fucking, I'm always down to sit down and bullshit for a few hours, but I'm always like pretty well fucking, I'm always pretty well moving. So I probably won't I don't catch a whole lot of podcasts. Honestly, I don't watch a whole lot of grow. I try to stay in my own little world when it comes to other growers, because they're just, so many people try to teach so many different things, and then you start trying to mix all these ingredients to make your soup, and then your soup sucks. When you start focusing on yourself, you start to becoming more like, this is my swing, this is my technique, this is how I do it. I try to keep more like that. So I really try to keep off the podcasts. I like to talk on the podcasts, but I don't really try to watch them. Like I have a lot of friends that, are big growers. I like to watch their grows, but I don't like to sit here and listen to their podcasts for some reason. I just have so many other things going on. Growing is such a job. I try to even when I'm doing it, I'm trying to put on like some other shows, like some comedy or music or Big Bang. I just really try to keep to myself. But again, like if you invite me and you're like, dude, like, yeah, we're going to be doing this on Wednesday or Friday or Tuesday, we'd love to have, dude, I'm down. I'll make sure I schedule you in and then move some shit around. But I probably won't hang out and be like, hey, I'm going to hop in, whatever. Because I've just got the kids running around and everything else. Like I got to have my wife watching stuff too. So, but I can always move stuff around to hop in and share some info. I appreciate you having me on, though, man.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on, man. You dropped a lot of fucking knowledge tonight, and I'm sure, like I said, just scratching the surface here. Just fucking scratching the surface.
So yeah, you can hang out with me for a few years, and we still just scratching the surface.
The other thing I need from you is the soundbite. I try to get this, Ivan. From all my guests, he was just giving me some shit in chat. It's like, do these sound bites ever get used? First of all, Ivan, you might be a little bit newer to the show and the chat. The last time I used the sound bites was after 100 episodes when I strung them all together. I took all the sound bites and put them together. It was like a 25-minute, I called it the celebrity sound bites from all the people that had been on the show. But then Smiley got me using them as like a commercial. But I've been busy a little bit. I do have like 10 of them I need to post. Been slacking a little bit. He's like, do they ever get used? Yes, they get used, Ivan. Damn it. Even. I'm even saying his name wrong, so I guess we're even. So,
Ivan?
It's like the old school, like artist radio soundbite. Hey, this is fucking Bon Jovi, and then this is fucking whatever radio station. You know what I mean? But in your case, it'd be more like, hey, this is the end of the world or the world's last hope, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 151, something like that. A little fucking marker for your episode would be
Almost
super
done.
cool.
I'm sorry, I missed the end of that. I have somebody poking at me. Said,
No, no worries, brother. Basically, what I'm just looking for is, something like this is the world's last hope, and I'm on fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 151. Something like that would be super cool.
What's up? This is the world's last hope. I'm on fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 151.
Perfect. Thank you, my friend. Thank
no
you.
worries.
Go tend to them girls and them girls.
Put them to bed. Put them to bed.
Thank you. You're always welcome. I know you say you're a busy man, but there might be some nights where you're like, fuck it, I'm going to turn that shit on. And
Yeah, why not?
if you want to, you're welcome to jump in. If not, I'm sure I will be inviting you back for sure really soon. So look for that invite, and thank you again.
Appreciate it, Red.
Good night. Thank you. The world's
problem,
last
bud.
hope. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm going to cut it short and then load it back up for the rabbit hole. See you guys in a few minutes. Thank you. If you're not going to tune in for the rabbit hole, if you guys don't, you guys know the deal. Do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. But if you guys want to come back and hang out for a few, I will be back in a few. So still got good 43 minutes. I'll hang. So see you in a few, guys. Bye.